we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and you're watching ABL Live. Thank y'all for being here tonight. You could be almost anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me live on the show, and I appreciate y'all for that. We got a whole lot going on tonight. CPAC is happening right now. It's been a very interesting event. It's been a bunch of conspiracy theories floating around as it relates to the stage and statues and stuff like that. We'll get to that, of course, in a minute. A shout out to Marjorie Taylor-Greene for wrecking her colleague across the hall, Marie Newman, over the whole issue of the Equality Act. Fantastic bang-up job there. Also, we got to talk about Obama versus reparations. Talking about, oh, it's the white man's fault. You got to blame the white man. He did this, that. Wait a minute. The white man wasn't to blame. You were able to pass the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell and TPP and DACA and Obamacare and everything else that you did. Reparations was never even a thought in your administration because it's the white man's fault. Very, very, very interesting. Also, your man Joe Biden went ahead and striked Syria. And it was funny seeing some people react to it, talking about, oh, well, he wasn't gloating about it. We're back to normal, back to business. Okay, back to business, right? Back to bombing them foreign nations, huh? Grand Theft Auto is apparently causing a crime wave in Chicago. That's news to me. Shout out to Zlatan Ibrahimovic wrecking LeBron James as it relates to the politics and sports. We'll talk about all those issues and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. And I thank y'all again for being here. You guys are the best audience anywhere on the internet. We got a whole lot going on tonight we're going to get into. But thank y'all again for joining. If you like what you've heard thus far, if you enjoy my channel, if you enjoy the content in general, please give this video a thumbs up. Like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. I most certainly appreciate you if you did. And this video will be available as audio only on your favorite audio streaming platform, whether that be Apple iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, etc. A link for that will be in the description box, or go over to your favorite platform and just search ABL Live. I should pop right on up. Oh, one more announcement right quick. I'm going to try to stream Trump's speech tomorrow at CPAC. It's scheduled for 3:40 or 3:50 p.m. Eastern time. So what I'll do, I try to be here right around 3:30 or a little bit earlier than that. I have to leave at about 5 or something, but if he's having a good speech in this epic, I might need to stay a little bit. So if I'm late, it's not my fault. You got to blame the white man for real because Trump's going to be speaking. So that'll be tomorrow. But we got a whole lot happening right now. Let's talk about CPAC right quick. Have you guys seen the memes? Have you seen the memes? Well, there's one main one that I want to focus on straight away, straight from the beginning, because whoever did this needs to get off the drugs. Lay off the drugs. Don't do drugs because drugs are doing you, okay? That's just what it is. Now, CPAC, if you don't know, that's a conservative political action conference, if I'm not mistaken. It's like basically like a convention, basically a conservative convention. And I've gone to these kind of events. I've not been to CPAC yet. I've been to events like CPAC. They're okay. They're good to network with people. You get to meet people, take pictures, and, you know, it's good to get together and talk and have community and go to different sections and booths and whatnot. It's pretty cool to do it. You know, I'm a fan of these in general, but I've not been to CPAC yet. Normally, CPAC is in Washington, D.C. It's kind of an establishment type thing to a certain extent as far as conservatives. But this time they had it in Florida because you got all these restrictions in D.C. You can't really do it up there the way you want to. So they're having it in Orlando, Florida. I'm hearing there's some masketeers down there kicking guys out for not wearing masks in the hotel or whatever. I mean, it's a weird situation. I understand how they have rules and they want you to follow it. I'm no masketeer myself. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is. You know, aside from that, I'm hearing the event's going pretty well. Shout out to Ted Cruz for the great speech. Freedom! That was a hilarious. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that right quick. If you guys didn't see it, you gotta check it out right quick. and hopefully my audio will play the way it's supposed to. I am on a new mixer, so if I sound different, shout out to my mixer. I'm not gonna, you know, give the brand name because I don't want to. I don't have a brand deal with them yet. You know, it is what it is. It's business. But let me get to the particular clip I want to see, that I want you guys to see, from CPAC with my man Ted Cruz. And I think Ted Cruz did a good job. I think Marjorie Taylor-Greene is, now becoming the star. I think MTG, I was saying MGT in the whole video. I think MTG, Marjorie Taylor-Greene, is definitely the person to see at CPAC. If you're able to meet her, get her photo, that's definitely going to be who you want to see. All right. Oh yeah, here's my man. Kristi Noem. Yeah, shout out to Kristi Noem, also a rock star. Hey, I like Kristi Noem. A lot of guys have been saying, hey, Kristi Noem, 2024, man. And I see what you mean. Very nice looking lady, very well spoken, very conservative. I like her a lot. She definitely has all the tools you need to, go higher in 2024. Definitely a big fan. All right. Let me see. So here we go. Let me just put that on the screen. And shout out to my man Ted Cruz. Let me try to turn it down a little bit so it doesn't blow your ears to pieces. Freedom! Freedom! And then if you can't hear what he says, if it's just too weird, he's saying freedom. And then this is on Twitter. Somebody posted it and it says, my dog in real life when I leave the front door open. Freedom! 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 So yeah, shout out to my man Ted Cruz over at CPAC, with the high energy performance. I'm loving it. And they had Kim Guilfoyle, Don Jr.'s girlfriend. She was up there. People getting mad at her because she was dancing. It's like, but she wanted to not dance. I mean, to be conservative, you can't dance. You can't, enjoy yourself. You can't have a good time. I don't understand what the problem is. Let me get to that right quick. So that's her right here. Let me put it on the screen. There's no sound on this one. It's just her. Got the sparklers coming out. It's a little intro. She's chilling, living the best life. I don't see what the problem is. So shout out to Kim Guilfoyle. I've seen her in person, took a picture with her and Don at the Don Jr. at, where was I? I was in Miami at the Amp Fest. Shout out to Amp Fest. Shout out to Tom and everybody over there at Amp down in Miami. But yeah, super nice lady. Very, just super cool person. Her and Don, really down to earth, just regular people. A little side story here. I saw Don Jr. at Trump Doral in Miami. I think I was down there eating lunch or breakfast or something. I might have been myself with some. I might have been like David Harris Jr. or somebody. I forget who I was with. But anyway, I saw Don come in there. He spoke to us at their table, just real down to earth. And the guy kind of like just came up to him, a big fan of his. And then you saw his Secret Service come from nowhere. They came from like the cut of the place we were at, of the restaurant. It just kind of appeared. It's like, don't get too friendly, sir. This is still the president's son at the time, but different story. So CPAC's jumping, right? Now, let's get to the cringe. Let's get to the cringe meme that has been floating around the internet. Here it is. Now, this, you know what I'm going to do? Matter of fact, you see what's going on right here? I'm going to get to a better one so you can see it a little bit more clearly. Let's go to TMZ right fast so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So there is no confusion about what's happening. All right. There we go. So here's the headline that they have on TMZ. CPAC stage design looks like Nazi symbol used by World War II SS platoon. Okay, so you see the stage right there. And if you can't see it, what's going on is that there's a stage. It's like a not a triangle, kind of like a rectangle, but in a diamond shape. I mean, a square in a diamond shape. And on the right and the left, it's like kind of like a runway going towards the back. And then there's like a little bit of a angular foot, I guess you would say, on each side, left and right, whereas the stage on no sides. Kind of hard to describe, but basically people are talking about, oh, it's the Nazi symbol, like the SS platoon. All right. So This is what they're talking about. The older rune. They're saying this right here, if you can see it on the screen, they're saying this is equivalent to that. And matter of fact, let's go back to the meme so you can see them at the same time. All right. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's put that on the screen. So it's by itself. There you go. So that's what they're saying. This has been floating around, and they're saying, "Oh well, the Republicans are racist. They're putting racism in your face." It's like, do you honestly think that they thought about that obscure thing when they were doing the stage design? Really? And it's not even the same thing. I guess you could say it looks similar if you turn it upside down and take off the crossbar at the very bottom. If you want it to look like that, sure, it can look like that, but that's not what this is. Okay, people are just ridiculous. And you know what? Stuff like this from the left and then some on the right, it kind of underlines how they are the conspiracy theorists talking about us, talking about, oh, you guys are QAnon, tinfoil hat, you believe in fairy tales and ghosts, all this, that, and the third. Look at what they believe in. They're looking at this stage and then connecting some crazy dots. I'm talking about basement dwelling, red string all over, some magazine clippings, stalker type stuff. That's the kind of wave that they're on. All right. And this was posted in Parlor Watch. Now, is Parlor Watch, this is a Reddit forum called Parlor Watch. Is Parlor Watch, is it an anti-parlor type of thing? What's really going on? Like, what is really happening? But hey, to anybody that believes this, get off drugs. Stop smoking crack because it's killing your brain. Your brain, this is your brain right here, ABL. This is your brain on drugs, okay? So get off the drugs, kids. Leave the drugs alone. This is just total nonsense, all right? And then there was a statue, right? There was a statue of Trump. It was like a golden statue. But the way that these conventions work, if you've never been to one, is you have different little booths set up, and everybody has their own thing. When I went to Politicon, it was the same way. You had the floating Trump. You had guys selling all types of stuff. I got all kind of things. There was one guy had this big giant floating Trump that was all over Europe and everywhere else. He had that inside CPAC. Then there was a guy that had a Trump piggy bank, a Trump teddy bear. There was Trump pins and lapels and socks, and I even saw a Trump pistol in the gun store. It's all kind of Trump merchandise and whatnot, right? So this is just yet another thing. Matter of fact, and I think the group that brought it was called Look Ahead America, right? And let me see. There it is. So this is a statue, and they're saying, "Oh, this is crazy. They're worshiping Trump." It's like it's just like another thing that you have at conventions like this. All right. And if you can't see it, it's like kind of a comical statue of Trump. And you could tell it's him because he has a crazy hair and it kind of looks like him. It's all gold. That's not real gold, obviously, because the statue looks like it's pretty much life size or kind of close to life size. Maybe it's about 4 to 5 foot. It's a pretty big statue. And it's on what appears to be like a mahogany type wood base. And the statue has on a dark colored jacket. He has a baton in his hand with a star on the end of it. He has paper in the hands. He has paper in the hands of the people. It's like the Constitution. And he has a long red tie with some American flag swim trunks on. No pants, just swim trunks. American flag, red, white, and blue, stars, stripes, the whole 9 yards. All right. It's just another thing that some people have when you're talking about, just items that they bring. Look Ahead America. Never heard them before in my life. It's probably a way for them to get the name out there, to let you know who they are, and that's it. But people are trying to make it be like this statue is the centerpiece of the whole convention. Like CPAC themselves brought this on stage and had it talking or something like that. Okay? That's not what's going on. It's just a statue that some guys brought to the convention, the same as anything else. The same as any other statue that gets brought there, this is what this is. Okay? So, but this ain't nothing new. These people, they just try to attack conservatives because they fear our message. They feel like we're going to influence the youth. and we're going to turn them away from liberalism. And I think that that's a fair thing to be afraid of, because if you're a leftist and you don't like conservatives, of course you're going to be scared about that. But don't make up these random conspiracy theories talking about, oh, the stage is a Nazi symbol and they're worshiping the idol. It's like, stop. Come on. Like, cut it out. You're just mad, leftist, that you don't have any Joe Biden bobblehead dolls or fan art that is dedicated towards him. Not even no Kamala Harris stuff. I've yet to see a Kamala Harris passion project. I've yet to see that. Show me the day where you see an organic Joe Biden bike rally or Kamala Harris rally of any sort that's not been bought and paid for by the Democratic Party. That's just done by civilians on their own, just regular normies out there putting it together with their own money. When you show me that, then you be able to say, okay, we got the culture, rather than just trying to do some kind of chicanery and little underhanded tricks to try and get the election to go in your favor. But different story, I digress. So yeah, shout out to everybody at CPAC. I would have gone to CPAC, but I didn't know about it till the last minute. When I went to look, everything was already sold out, but I would have gone. There ain't nothing but hop, skip, and jump. I'm in Tennessee, so I can just go. I could drive to Atlanta. I could fly. Really, I could probably drive there. I could probably drive to Orlando. Or I can just go to Atlanta, be there and hop, skip, and jump and fly. Ball and a half, hour and a half, I'll be there. Easy. So, yeah, shout out to CPAC. And like I said, tomorrow, Trump will speak at CPAC. I think it's at 3:40 or 3:50 Eastern time tomorrow afternoon. So I'm going to try to be there to stream it. I try to be here at about 3:30. That's my objective, to be here at about 3:30, film it, and then get to my next destination. All right. That's what that is. All right. But yeah, back to CPAC one right quick before we get to the next thing. The Democrats are hung up on Trump. I'm getting trolls on my Facebook page and Twitter page still talking about Trump. Trump going to jail. Trump this, Trump that. It's like, look, haven't you had enough? I thought that you wanted Joe Biden to get in there so you could focus on him, so you don't got to deal with Orange Man no more. You guys have an obsession with Trump. Those on the left that's still talking about him. These leftists are nuts completely, 1,000%. All right. Oh, and shout out to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. If you guys didn't see, she put out the epic sign in front of her, outside of her door in D.C., outside of her office door, talking about there are only two genders, male and female, trust to science. Matter of fact, let me bring it up right quick so you guys can see it, because you haven't seen it yet. I'm sure you have. It's been all over the place. But I'm going to put it up right now so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And we just go ahead and mute this right here. Okay, let's not have that going. And let me see, where am I at? Okay, let's go to this video here. And let's see if I can find when they did it. Okay. Now here's my video that I'm gonna show you guys. So pardon seeing me again. You know, I do have one the same thing. Hey, don't judge me. It's the white man's fault. But anyway. All right. So this is, now, if you didn't see that, I'm gonna just rewind a little bit. Now, what Marie Newman did was, in their video, she showed Marjorie Taylor-Greene's door sign. So you know it's right there. This is her office. And then right across from her office is Marie Newman's office. So Marie Newman showed right across the hall that she's putting the trans flag right in front of MTG's office. So let's check it out. All right. And then see right there, that is Marjorie Taylor-Greene's office. And she's showing that intentionally, so you know, okay, I'm right here. This is what we're doing. And we're just going to show her up, right? So she pans over to where her actual office is. You see, there's Marie Newman's office right there, and she hangs up the trans flag. Now, I think normally what goes right there is an American flag. But, okay, now she's like, okay, boom, I'm done. I put up the trans flag. Up yours, MTG. You're a bigot, and I support trans lives. My daughter is trans. There you go. I'm trolling you with the trans flag. Okay, that was the first thing that happened. That was before MTG did what she did, right? Now, and here comes MTG's video. She shows Marie Newman's door sign. Now, before I continue, yes, this is kind of petty. Yes, this is like bitter neighbors, but it is what it is. Politics can't be like this, so that's just the nature of it. So she shows Marie Newman sign, pans over. You see the little trans flag right there, so that's her in front of her office. And here is MTG's office with the American flag and the sign that says there are two genders, male and female, trust the science. So she hangs it up, smooths it on out, and then wipes her hands. That's, and that's how that goes. So people getting triggered. People got triggered at what MTG did and not Marie Newman. Marie Newman was just fine to put out the trans flag. That's no big deal. She's not trying to troll MTG, although she showed her office, showed the name and everything, did all this hand movement, all this and that. That wasn't trolling. That wasn't offensive. That was nothing because trans lives matter, all this and that and the third. But when Marjorie Taylor-Greene gives you an actual legitimate, statement about there only being two genders, all of a sudden it's anti-trans. How was it anti-trans to say that there are only two genders? You can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself. You can call yourself a bird, a duck, a pigeon, an elf, a deer, a rainbow, the first ray of sunshine, Mountain Dew, the drink. You could be sugar-free Mountain Dew, sugar-full Mountain Dew. I don't care what you call yourself. That's your business, not my business. However, biology says you have XX or XY chromosomes. That's it. Okay? Either you're one or the other. Whatever you identify as beyond biology is your business. Okay? I identify as being 8 feet tall and being able to fly. Now, if I jump from a building and I don't fly, then whose fault is that? Am I going to blame somebody for being anti-trans ability for me not being able? But anyway, I digress. The whole point is that what MTG said was right, but she gets attacked for it. On the left, that is. But to those of us on the right, she's becoming a rock star because she dares to say something as she dares to say something as controversial as there only being two genders. All right. So yeah, shout out to Marjorie Taylor-Greene. I'm a big fan of hers, 1,000%. Oh, and also, remember the whole thing about the Jewish space lasers? They said that she said, first of all, she did not say anything about Jewish at all. She did not utter the word Jewish, none of that. What she said was about this experiment that is like a laser that can shoot from space with energy that they collect from the sun, and it can collect energy from the sun and then send it back to the earth, right? Now, she said that there's some financiers that could be behind this, and since some of the financiers are Jewish, not all of them, but some of them, then she said Jewish space lasers, and the Jews were controlling it. She did not say that at all. That's media lying to you, telling you a half-truth. She did not say anything about no Jewish people at all. But she did say the thing about space lasers. Now, how about this? How about this, though? Now, you ready for this? I'm gonna show you something right quick, just to go ahead and silence the haters. All right, give me 1 second, because the haters got to get silenced. Y'all been chirping a little bit too much, and y'all starting to get on my nerves. Okay, give me 1 second here. All right. Now, let's check it out. This is on CNN.com. You can fact check me all you want to, and that's fine. CNN exclusive. A solar panel in space is collecting energy that could one day be beamed to anywhere on Earth. Now, I'm not Albert Einstein. I'm not a rocket scientist or anything of the sort, but that looks like a space laser beaming down to Earth, doesn't it? This is on CNN.com. You can see it right here. I'm on the website right now. You can see me, on the website. Okay. Matter of fact, I'll put a link in the description. In the comment section, so you can go to it right now. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this right now as we're talking, so you can know that I'm not playing any games. All right. Let me just go ahead and get off of that, and then close that, and come right back over here and give you guys that link. All right, boom. There it is. So, yeah, people say it's old technology. So, what did she say that was wrong? Nothing. They try to play her as some kind of conspiracy theorist, but you can see it right there, straight from CNN. So, are CNN conspiracy theorists? Will MTG get an apology for that? No, she won't. Not from the mainstream media. But this is what they do. Anybody that's watching, I don't care if you're left, right, or whatever, that's what they do. When you go against the grain and do something they don't like, or they're going to try to malign you, throw dirt on your name, make you out to be crazy and whatnot, gaslight you, making you think maybe you are crazy. They'll say you're crazy so much, and they'll do it over and over and over again. It might, if you believe that you are crazy, if you're not strong enough, but she is. So shout out to her, 100%. All right. Alex Jones got it covered. Yeah, shout out to Alex Jones. But hey, if it's not a space laser, then take it up with CNN. I did not make the illustration. I didn't do it. I did not write the report. I'm just sharing the information with you guys. That's all. I'm sharing it with you. I can't do nothing else but that, right? That's all I can do. That's it. That's all I can. All right. Hey, my tinfoil hat, I have on a cotton hat. I can't put on a tinfoil hat, but the tinfoil hat, cotton hat, tin hat, it don't matter what kind of hat I have on. The truth is the truth, regardless of what, and it defends itself. All right. But hey, if you're enjoying the content so far, please give the video a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And I appreciate you for that. What do we got next? We got a whole lot of things happening tonight all over the internet. Oh, shout out to your main man, Joe Biden, striking Syria. Well, not really Biden. I don't think Biden knows what's going on with Syria and the strike, nor does Kamala Harris. It was funny. I saw a tweet from Jack Posobiec talking about Kamala Harris was she was mad that nobody told her about the strike. It's like, Kamala Harris, come on. Don't you know you don't have any kind of input here? Nobody cares what you think. With your thought process, whatever you think about foreign policy and decisions is irrelevant. You're not anybody that matters. Neither is Joe Biden. Joe Biden was probably downstairs in the basement eating some banana pudding, chilling, getting a little change right quick before he goes to bed at about 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then he got up in the morning and heard about the strike. He did not know about the strike either, in my humble opinion. He's not governing. People behind the scenes are governing. That's what's going on. That's probably part of the deal. And did you guys see Joe? Speaking of Joe and not knowing what's going on, did you guys see him recently? Okay, here's what I'm going to do right quick. I'm going to show you this video of Joe, and you tell me if this appears to be a man that is in control of his faculties, let alone of the country. Let me find this video right quick, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so matter of fact, we have sound with this one. Let's go ahead and turn it up. And let's turn that up there. Put it on the screen.
I think he was getting on a plane. He told me he came in to see me last event. And Representatives Shirley Jackson Lee, Al Green, Sylvia Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli, Pinell, and what am I doing here? I'm going to lose track here.
Did you hear that? What am I doing here? I'm going to lose track here. That's what the tweet actually says from Ian Mouse Chong. Shout out to him. Let's roll it back right quick in case you didn't hear it.
Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli, Pinell, and what am I doing here? I'm going to lose track here. And Mayor Turner, Judge Hidalgo, thank you all for welcoming us. And Jill and I wanted to visit Texas today for a couple of reasons.
Now, okay, do you think this guy is the one ordering strikes on Syria? Come on. Like, just be honest with yourself. That's not happening. That is not going on at all right now. All right. It's sad, really. But at the same time, the Democratic Party did this. They did this. So it's their fault. I can't say I feel bad for Joe because you signed up for it. But at the same time, they shouldn't be doing this to this man. He's clearly not in his right state of mind. I'm not even trying to be, politically partisan. I'm just calling the obvious, calling it how I see it. Anybody can see that this man's not in his right state of mind, but yet they got him out there like he is in his right state of mind. He's obviously not. That's just the reality. And here's one more video of Joe not appearing to be having his wits about him. Let's check it out.
promised from 7 weeks ago that if Democrats flipped the Senate, the checks were going out the door.
Come on, Peter. Thank you. Let's go, guys. Thank you.
Now, in the background here, thank you. That's his staff rushing the reporters along because, you know, they don't really want to show him too much. Let's roll it back right quick. So if you're not watching, if you're just listening, Joe Biden, I guess he got done with the speech and he's leaving the podium.
Saudi Arabia.
And then Kamala Harris is in the background like a statue. She don't talk at all. She's just in the background, just there for representation purposes. Okay. You got woman of color in the background never saying anything. But anyway.
7 weeks ago that if Democrats flipped the Senate, the checks were going out the door.
So he's going over, to, I guess, the doctor or the nurse or somebody. Very slowly.
Peter, thank you. Let's go, guys. Thank you.
They're talking.
So, come on, guys. We're going.
My mask.
Oh, I forgot my mask.
Thank you, guys.
And then he's reaching for it.
Let's go, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so
much. Juicy, let's go.
I mean, come on. The president? Really? This is him?
This is the head on.
I see you. I see you tempted. I see you. Let's go.
I mean, come on. Like, really? That's the president right there. Now, my question to you guys, all playing aside, all kidding aside, how much longer does he have to be the president? How much longer before they say, okay, you know what? This is quite enough. We're going to go ahead and put Kamala Harris in there and move on with the presidency. How long does he have to continue to be the president? I mean, I said from the jump, people ask me, how long will he survive in office while, you know, not being removed by whatever? I say 6 months to a year. So somebody said they might try to push him to 2 years to go to not even 2 full years, probably to the midterms of next year. So like maybe a year and some change, a year and a half, a year and a little bit more than a half. I'm not really sure. But in reality, I think he has a year left, and that's going to be pretty much it. Anything beyond a year is going to be really, really pushing it. It's going to be for real weekend at Bernie's. You're going to see the man out there like this, just kind of, you know, straight puppet style, not even joking at all. It needs some AI technology to prop this man up to make sure he doesn't fall over and bust his head open. All right. Who legally voted for this man? Your guess is as good as mine. Your guess is as good as mine. Well, you know what? I know some guys that voted for Joe Biden don't know why they did. Some liberals don't know why. Even as a liberal, why would you vote for this man? But anyway, and they're having buyer's remorse. Big time buyer's remorse. But it's like we tried to tell you. We told you what Joe Biden was going to be. We told you what he was going to do. So why is it a surprise that Joe Biden has become what we told he was going to be? We already gave you the warning. So don't act like this is some kind of new information, because it's not new information. All right. So let me see. Let's go to some more here. And what we got going on. So yeah, back to striking Syria. Yeah, he's not governing. That was already planned for quite a while, and I don't think he could do anything to stop it. And why would he want to? He don't really care. He's just an empty suit. He's like the roach from Men in Black. He's like a husk of a man. All right, he's not governing. It's the people around him. It's the staff. It's the deep state. It's the appointees that are governing. Okay, and it's funny because on Twitter I'm seeing people talk about, you could strike Syria, but no stimmy checks, no 2,000 promise. Ain't gonna be no 2,000. Let's just get that clear. The stimmy check is going to be 1,400 because you already got 600. They're not going to back off of that one. But my thing is, if you're waiting on $1,400 and that's going to save you, I think that there's some deeper problems there. I'm not trying to judge anybody. I'm just saying, because the way that the economy is going, it's going to be rough. And they're getting us deeper into debt by doing that. And then at the same time, they want to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2025, which is hilarious. If the minimum wage was so great and it was so fantastic and they could just improve everybody's life that works a low wage job, why wouldn't they do it right away? Why wouldn't they do it instantly? Why try to phase it in over a period of time? Like I said before, they know that when they raise the wages artificially from the government level, it's going to cause job loss. And if they do a sharp increase, it'll cause immediate job loss. And it'll look terrible on graphs. You're talking about an inverse of the voting night, Remember the voting night where it was kind of steady, then it just jumped up by like 1 million or whatever? It'd be just like that, but in the reverse. You have kind of a steady decline and then just like a cliff, it'll drop. Because a lot of small businesses and maybe some big ones that have a certain business model cannot survive if you raise the wage up so high. But if you raise it over a period of time, you have businesses die off slowly. They'll still die, but they'll die slow. So it won't look as bad. It'll be more of a gradual decline rather than a sharp decline. They know what's going on. They don't really care. They want us, the regular normies out there, to be dependent upon the government rather than being able to be entrepreneurial and doing things on our own. That's what they want. So, yeah, you can enjoy your higher minimum wage, but also enjoy that breadline if you are in a low income situation right now, or enjoy, if you're a young person, not really being able to get to that first job and actually get paid before you get to be 25 years old, and you kind of, your growth has been stunted. They're talking about, oh, it's going to help low income communities. How is that going to happen? All right, if there's no jobs at all at 725, how are they going to just magically become jobs at 15? Like, the issue with low income areas is the lack of industry, period. The lack of jobs, period. The lack of business, period. Not the fact that you don't get paid a lot of money. So raising the wage up is not going to magically just, sprout up new businesses. You actually need to lower the wage down. Have no minimum wage in some of these areas. Because some guys wouldn't mind getting paid $5 an hour. When I was a kid, I was getting paid, $6.25, and I feel like I'm still able to kind of get what I was able to get back then on that same kind of money. I'm like 16 years old in high school, 11th grade, 12th grade. I mean, what do I really need? Some candy from the store, little drinks, a bicycle, and I got a car later, a free car, an old car, putting gas in the car, insurance. Even with a car, I can get a beater car and make payments if I have to, off $5 an hour, if I really know how to grind and get money. But you can't do that when they raise the bar so high artificially, you can't even get to that point. And I done seen guys that don't have any job opportunities get wrapped up in the street life that are not even street guys. You're going to have street guys that are going to do that regardless of what, because they're just street guys. But some kids that could be saved, if you will, and there's no job opportunities, nothing around them, they don't even really know what's available for them out there in the world. It's easy for them to get wrapped up in the street life when they're 13, 14 years old trying to make money, go to the street, easy money, no jobs around, and then now that becomes their life. But hey, raise that minimum wage up, make yourself feel better, and you see how poverty will increase, crime will increase, and what you thought would happen as a result of raising the wage won't happen. All you're going to do is just have the big businesses, your Walmart, Target, Amazon, etc. They're going to raise up while the little guy just gets stomped down by the big business. Big bank take little bank. That's pretty much how that goes. But I digress. What else we got going on? Speaking of low income areas, joblessness, dope boys, thugs, and whatnot, there's a local rep in Chicago who says that if they ban the sale of Grand Theft Auto in the state of Illinois, that it would curb the carjackings that are happening right now at an astronomical rate in the city of Chicago and the rest of the state. Now, I don't know about y'all, but the guys that I know guys that would do stuff like that. I know guys that have been in jail for doing stuff like that. Grand Theft Auto was not the reason why they did it. They weren't just playing Grand Theft Auto online, buying their fictitious car, and just having a good time and say, you know what, rather than just playing this game and enjoying myself and talking to friends on Xbox Live or whatever, I'm going to go outside, get a gun, risk my life, and steal some cars. That's what I'm going to do. This is not how that works. There's a disconnect between those that think video games are causing the violence and the actual people that are causing the violence. The video games have nothing to do with it at all. Really, if you're playing a video game, that's a way for you to vent out your frustrations and not go out there and do something crazy to somebody to hurt yourself or somebody else. It's a way to just kind of chill and not be out there in the mix. Guys that are doing the carjacking probably don't even, they might play video games, but barely. These guys are not even in that type of world. They're not building gaming PCs and all that kind of stuff. These guys are thugs. That's what they're going to do. Gangs in Chicago been around since what? The 50s and the 60s and the 70s. And then that's the black gangs. But then before that, you had Al Capone in the Prohibition era. I mean, what was the blame for Al Capone doing what he was doing? Oh, wait, because it was what game was out back then? What GTA was out back then when Al Capone was shooting out the block because of the Prohibition? And then beyond Prohibition, what was the excuse back in the 60s and 70s for the gangs doing whatever they're doing? What game was it? The Atari? Was it a block hitting the other block that caused these guys to go out there and shoot up whole neighborhoods, kill whole families and stuff like that? It's just so dumb. You could ban GTA all you want to, it won't do a thing. I mean, if you're talking about Chicago and Illinois in general, like I said in my video, the first thing you got to do is attack that corruption. That corruption is crucial. I'm talking about from the top to the bottom, the governors and mayors, the prosecutors, the attorneys, everybody's corrupt. I saw a video that says Chicago is the most corrupt place in the U.S. and Illinois as a state is the most corrupt state in the U.S. Matter of fact, I'll put it on the screen right here. Let me go to my website, anthonyblogan.com. Check it out for all original articles. Exactly, Shreves. Pong made them do it. Right. Okay, you got guys out there pulling switchblades in the subway in New York because of Pong. That's what happened. But so here's my article. All right. Chicago leader says ban Grand Theft Auto to stop carjackings. All right. Now, here are the real guys with their guns ready to kill you. Here is a video game. Reality, fantasy. Reality, fantasy. I think a lot of guys understand the difference. Now, here is from WGN Morning News. This is what they said about Chicago. This is Chicago local news, by the way. So it's not a biased anti-Chicago or outside of Chicago source. Let me turn that on.
Illinois claims Chicago is the most corrupt city in the U.S. It's based on a new report from the University of Illinois claims Chicago is the most corrupt city in the U.S. It's based on data from the Justice Department, which looked at public corruption convictions between 1976 and 2019. During that time period, Chicago had 1,800 convictions. That's more than Los Angeles, which had the second highest total, and New York, which ranked third. The report also found that Illinois is the third most corrupt state in the country.
So, I mean, we're talking about trying to ban video games. Meanwhile, the corruption is crazy. And, you know, the problem with corruption is how corruption and crime are linked together. Well, when you have corruption, it's easy for a menace to society, a terrorizing member of the neighborhood who will commit violent crimes, talking about crimes with illegal weapons, aggravated assault, kidnapping, home invasion, all types of stuff. He'll get a slap on the wrist for a sentence. Slap on the wrist. Go to the penitentiary for a year. Go to the juvenile facility. Go to probation. I'm going to give you a second chance, and I'm going to be lenient to you. Juicy Smouye, exactly. Deep Center. Juicy Smouye, remember that whole thing? This man did a whole fake hate crime, elaborate fake hate crime with actors, paid actors, the whole 9 yards, right? Props. It was well thought out. So it's all kind of charges right there. Conspiracy. I mean, everything, right? Anyway, he got off scot-free. Okay, Kim Fox, was that the Cook County State's attorney, the prosecutor, or whatever? She's getting phone calls from Michelle Obama, former chief of staff, talking about, hey, this is our friend. He's a friend to the Obamas. Go light on him. He didn't do anything wrong. All this and that and the third. And all of a sudden, his whole case goes away. Like it never even happened. And he's able to go on TV and say, well, I'm a victim, all this and that. When you had evidence that he was not a victim, you got videotape, you got confessions of the guys that were involved. You got the tape of him with the Ace Hardware twine on his neck. The story they're making is talking about some, these guys came from the cut at 3 o'clock in the morning in sub 1,000 degree temperature, like surface of Mars at night, talking about this mega country in Chicago, white dudes, put a rope on my neck. The stupidest thing, this man had a Subway sandwich in the dead of cold in Chicago, ate the sandwich with rope on his neck. Talking about someone traumatized. It's like, sir, really? You ate a whole sandwich under this trauma? Really? With Ace Hardware twine on your neck. The dumbest thing. The dumbest thing. That's what I'm talking about. You're not prosecuting crimes. You're letting guys get off. That's how crimes continue to happen. All right, then you had the whole Black Lives Matter thing. You wouldn't dedicate all your energy towards that. And while they're looting and whatnot, you wouldn't have police down there kind of just chilling, hanging out, saying bye. and the police that were diverted away from the neighborhoods were needed in the neighborhoods where they normally are. And when BLM was out there and the police were down there trying to protect them, I guess, neighborhoods had the highest homicide in recorded history. So that's the problem, not Grand Theft Auto or any other so-called violent video game. It's just a scapegoat. It's the most easy example to point to of a scapegoat that I've ever seen in my life. There's so many different things. You got the gangs, you got the corruption, you got the bad politics, the bad policies. $15-hour minimum wage in Chicago. In some parts of the city, in the north, in the suburbs, it might be all right. They might be able to survive. It'll still be rough because it's still high for minimum wage. But down in the south or in the west, in some of the bad areas, it's going to be rough. Areas that have no jobs already are not going to get them with the higher minimum wage. But I'm getting triggered, so I digress. So yeah, shout out to everybody that believes that video games are a problem. And shout out to everybody that believes that video games are not a problem. They're fun. It's like watching movies or TV or anything else. It's a hobby. And I enjoy gaming. It's great. It's a great thing to do. It's fun. That's it. It ain't nothing else. I never played a video game and said, you know what? I want to get up from my chair right now and stop eating my Doritos and just go and do something crazy. I never thought that in my life. All right. But anyway. Oh, and shout out to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I know I'm turning his name up. It's not my fault. You got to blame the white man. But anyway, he is a pro footballer or soccer player, as we know it over here in the States, who plays for AC Milan, a very well-known striker. I don't know about AC Milan. I don't know what a striker is. I'm just reading. That's all I'm doing. I'm reading information, and I'm giving it to you. But he was in an interview, and he said something pretty simple. He's like, hey, athletes like LeBron James stick to their sport. You know, just stick to what you know. If you are a basketball player or footballer, stick to what you know. Right? Hold on. Matter of fact, here is the video that I'm going to show you guys right quick. And I might show you LeBron's response as well so you can get both sides of the story. Hold on. Let me just turn my volume up, make sure it's right.
Yeah. I liked a lot. And, I mean, he's a phenomenal in what he's doing. But I don't like when people, when they have some kind of status and they go in and they do politics at the same time what they're doing. I mean, do what you're good at. Do the category you do. I play football because I'm the best in playing football. I don't do politics. If I would be a politician, I would do politics. That is the first mistake people do when they become famous and they come in a certain status. Stay out of it. Just do what you're best at because it doesn't look good.
Right on point. Now, he's like, he's not saying you can never, ever do politics in your life as a guy that is an athlete. He's just saying while you're playing, you're not good at it. Let's just don't even do it because it just becomes a problem. It doesn't look good. It's just weird. Just stick to what you're good at. And I agree with that 100%, 1,000%. And this is an athlete saying it's another athlete. So it's not even the whole thing. They're trying to say that it's racism and whatnot. They're trying to say like Laura Ingraham and the whole shut up and dribble. But Laura Ingraham is a Fox News host, not an athlete. But obviously this man, Ibrahimovic, is an athlete and a very good one at that from what I have been reading. So this is not a guy that is just talking and not having any kind of experience. All right. So here's Bron giving his 2 cents on the whole situation. Let me make sure that the volume is good to go. And let's go ahead and turn it on.
Today, you know, I would never shut up about things that's wrong. I preach about my people, and I preach about equality, social injustice, racism, systematic voting, voter suppression, things that go on in our community. Because I was a part of my community at one point and seeing the things that was going on, and I know what's going on still because I have a group of 300 plus kids at my school that's going through the same thing and they need a voice. Now,
the whole thing about the school, okay, I give him that. That's great. Although the school is not totally funded by him, it is funded by him in part. I read that he gives $2 million of the $8 million per year budget. So, he's doing his part as far as the school, giving back to the community and whatnot. But let's keep on going, and then I'll give you my 2 cents at the end.
and I'm their voice. I'm their voice, and I use my platform to continue to shed light on everything that may be going on, not only in my community, but around this country and around the world. So, you know, if there's no reason, well, no, I won't say no reason, but there's no way I will ever just stick to sports, because I understand how, how this platform and how powerful my voice is. And he can just ask Renee Montgomery, if I would have shut up and just dribbled, seeing that beautiful.
See, bringing up Laura Ingraham, but again, Laura Ingraham is not an athlete. Laura Ingraham is a Fox News host. But your man that said that to you really is a colleague of yours, because y'all are both athletes, different sports, obviously, but you both are athletes. So he's somebody that's right, and you're saying line of work.
Black woman today, be a part of a group where she's part of an ownership group now with the Atlanta Dream down in Atlanta. And it's funny he say that, because I believe in 2018, he was the same guy who said when he was back in Sweden.
Hold on, let's pause for a minute. Atlanta Dream, I think Kelly Loeffler at one point owned that. And he's just trying to, send a jab to her because she's a conservative, and I think she's also a Trump supporter. So that was just a jab at her. Again, talking about politics. This is what I'm talking about. That's why he was saying don't do that, because now you're going to create a divide between those that support Trump and Kelly Loeffler and those that don't unnecessarily. Why? But let's see what he said at the very end here. I'll address that as well.
And it's funny he say that, because I believe in 2018, he was the same guy who said when he was back in Sweden, talking about the same things, because his last name wasn't a certain last name, that he felt like it was some racism going on when he was out on the pitch.
Now, I'm going to say that. Now, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I know I'm turning his name up. Again, it's not my fault. He's actually, I think his parents are from the former Yugoslavia. One parent is from Bosnia. The other, I forget exactly which country out of Yugoslavia when they broke up that they're from. But one parent is a Bosniak. And his name is not Swedish. You go to Swedish, you're going to have Nordic names. And what he was saying back in 2018 was that if he had a Swedish sounding or a Nordic sounding name like Magnusson or Svensson, he could pretty much do whatever he wants, not get in trouble. He could rob a bank and it'd be all right. But because his name is more like kind of ethnic to a different place, he would have racism targeted towards him because of his ethnicity. But that ain't the same thing as saying Black Lives Matter, or, we took the team down there in Atlanta from Trump and I hate Trump and all this. See, now you get into politics. Here on this channel, that's pretty much the end. I can just go ahead and leave it right there. But here on this channel, I talk about politics. Trump, Biden, Obama, what's going on in the world. That's politics. Policies and people getting fired from their job as governors, mayors. I talk about that. If I talk about me, that's something else. That's not necessarily the same thing. I kind of see where he was going, but that might have been a swing and a miss on that one. Okay, or a shot in the brick, but I move on. Yeah, what LeBron is doing is talking about Breonna Taylor and I Can't Breathe and Black Lives Matter. That's a whole different ball of wax right there. All right, so that's what that is. And people don't like that because it creates, it just creates a divide in between people. And I'm a basketball fan. When I saw the NBA do the whole thing with Black Lives Matter, I just couldn't watch it. And it makes me upset because I enjoy the game. But when you mix in the politics with the sports, I don't want to see it. Even if it was conservative stuff, I don't want to see it because I enjoy politics. I watch news all the time, every single day. I read news every day, all day. That's my life. But can I get a break from politics every now and again? Can I play my video game for an hour and not have Black Lives Matter spread across the screen? Can I watch the basketball game and not have Black Lives Matter spread across the screen? How about watching the basketball game or a football game or a soccer game or whatever and not have the halftime guys go into a whole monologue talking about how Black Lives Matter is good for Black America, for America and everybody else? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to see Sean Hannity, who else? Don Lemon or anybody else on my TV screen during a basketball game talking about anything. That's just the long and short. I'll watch these guys when I need to watch these guys, but not all the time. But I digress. All right. So if you enjoy what you're hearing so far, give me a thumbs up on this video, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. And we have some super chats to get to, and then I'm going to get to the calls. So you guys just hang tight for the calls. The number's always in the description box below and also in the ticker. At a certain point, it'll just scroll on past, and you'll be able to see it from there. But again, the number is always in the description box below. Super chats on deck. Let's get to those right quick, and then we get to the calls. Okay, let me go back to where I was. Shout out to Apu with a few super chats. Marie, who says, clarification on last minute super chat. The Grand Chief of the Cherokee Nation says Chrysler should drop name Cherokee from the Jeep brand. Thoughts? I mean, it's just so dumb. And I feel like that's kind of like a corporate espionage. My question would be, did the Chief of the Cherokee Nation get paid to say that? Because if you're telling me to drop a very well-known brand from my vehicle, that's going to impact my sales. So that could be something going on with some money, not even a thing about being offended as far as the Cherokee name is concerned. Or they might want to get a piece of the action if they don't already. They might want to get some of the money and try to claim ownership of the Cherokee name. See, but thank you for your donation. And he also says, great video on Zlatan versus LeBron. I agree that politics and sports don't mix. But what's your opinion on Gina Carano's tweets and subsequent cancellation? I mean, I think what she said was okay. And the tweets, I don't really see how there was anything that was that bad. I forget what she was saying exactly. What she was talking about. Basically like, let's love one another. That shouldn't even really be political. Let's love one another, and let's not fight over politics. Let's just love one another. It doesn't matter if you're left, right, or whatever. Let's just love one another. I don't see how that was really something that was bad. It wasn't really political, in my humble opinion. And the cancellation, that's just what Disney does. But see, the cancellation is not even, see, some people will say, well, Disney, they don't want you to be political on your own platform or whatever. And if you are, they're going to cancel you. But that's not always the case, because the other guy, what was his name? Pascal? I forget his first name. I don't watch Disney Plus or The Mandalorian or anything else, but her co-star had some similar, or at least one similar tweet that might have been political in nature, and he was all right because he's a leftist. He's seen as a leftist. See, the cancellation goes one way. When you're conservative, you get canceled for tweets like that. But when you're liberal, you can do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and it's fine. It's an anti-conservative bias, or if you're seen as conservative friendly, then you get canceled. If it was across the board the same policy, then not be better with it, although not totally satisfied, but that ain't the case. All right, Apu says, ABL, have you or will you listen to the Springsteen Obama podcast? I've not listened to the podcast. I'm not really sure where it is. So I've not heard it. But anyway, he says, Mr. Obama says he punched and broke a racist bully's nose. You buying it? Springsteen's not charged with DUI. White privilege much? Well, Bruce Springsteen was not drunk. So I think the whole thing with the DUI, it wouldn't have been a DUI anyway. He was just drinking in the place where he shouldn't have been drinking. So that was just kind of more of a trespassing type thing than a DUI because he was not drunk. He was not over the legal limit. He was under the legal limit. But as far as now, what Obama did to frame that a little bit better, I'm not saying you framed it improperly or incorrectly on purpose, but what Obama did, a friend of his called him COON, but we get called as black folks when we're trying to be so-called white. We get called that from other black folks. It's an anti-black term from black folks to black folks. And the same black folks use the anti-black term will say that they're woke and blackity black, back to Africa, all this, that, and the third. And if you're not woke and blackity black, back to Africa, then they call you the COON. But anyway, he was called that by a friend of his. I don't know if the guy was white or black or whatever, but it was a friend. And as a result, he punched the guy and broke his nose, allegedly. I don't know if I really believe that. I feel like he'll say pretty much anything on these podcasts, giving you war stories. Maybe he did, but I doubt it. I feel like Obama was doing some else. I feel like Obama was into an alternative lifestyle in college, but I'll leave that right there. But some of these guys live them lifestyles they get active too. So I can't really tell. Apu also says, why does Obama blame racism all time he's criticized? I mean, it's an easy out. It's an easy out. He could say, oh, well, I didn't do it because of the white man. It's easy out. That's why I always say it in joking, because every time someone does something they don't want to take responsibility for, they say, oh, the white man made me do it. And it does not get challenged that much. So when I joke about blaming the white man, it's to make light of that fact that it's used all the time as a scapegoat. It's like video games in Chicago, they're using that as a scapegoat. The white man is also a scapegoat. Matthew says, Obama blaming the white man despite being president for 2 terms. Exactly. The oppression must be really bad, Mr. President. Right. The same white people that voted for him to be the president, not once, but twice, I guess are the same ones that prevented him from talking about reparations. So if you were able to get DACA passed, and the white man was there, repealing Don't Ask, Don't Tell with the white man being there, Obamacare with the white man being there, TPP with the white man being there, why not this thing for black folks? Because it's a non-starter in general. It's not really a serious topic to discuss. So rather than just saying that and being honest, you want to take the opportunity to blame the white man. Why not? Because you don't want to give the truth and say that you're not going to get it, black folks. Stop crying and telling me about it. You want to preserve your legacy and you don't want to lose favor in the black community. So you say, oh, well, he made me do it. People accept it and then they move on with their lives. And then whenever he's brought up and we say, hey, what did Obama do for you, black man? Oh, he couldn't do anything because the white man got in his way. Oh, but he gave DACA to illegal aliens. He gave TPP and he gay marriage and Obamacare and everything else. Don't Ask, Don't Tell got repealed. But I digress. Amy V says, thoughts on the kid's book, The Undefeated. In that book, the page listed for The Unspeakable. Should this be added for a required book in the 3rd grade? I'm not sure what you're talking about there. I've not seen this book, but I'm gonna look into it and give you a response. Matthew says, have you seen the memes? Don't do drugs. Drugs, do you? Anthony Brown Logan 2021, the internets. Apple says, Biden called Texas Democrat Representative Shirley Jackson. He called her. What did he say to her? I've not seen that one. Shout out to Yolanda for the donation. Thank you to Apple, who says President Biden bombed Syria. VP Harris doesn't know. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, Kamala Harris nor Biden knew about the bombing of Syria. They don't know. Biden, like I said, he's downstairs in the basement eating tapioca, chilling, and Kamala Harris is hanging out with her husband and her stepkids, being mamala, chilling. She'll know what's going on. She's mad that she didn't get told, but it's not her business. She's not a governing member of government. She's just a figurehead. See, the establishment, they're going back to what they were, which was to have the president be a figurehead that does not actually govern. When Trump got in there and wanted to govern, they're like, oh, wait a minute. What did we do here? Because normally it's the guys behind the scenes that do all the heavy work. And you go out there and just talk to dignitaries and foreign leaders and shake hands, kiss babies. You don't actually govern. So, Trump was a different kind of guy. That's why I didn't like him on both sides. Hudson Jackson II says, having CPAC in Florida instead of National Harbor, Maryland is a nice change. But in 2022, we should set up MAGA PAC to stick it to the establishment. What is that? Like a convention? There's a lot of conventions that happen all over the place. I've been to other conventions that are like CPAC, but are not CPAC. Yeah, so I'll see probably have another convention. That's fine. Beth Speak Truth says Ted Cruz is Bush Republican, no establishment. I mean, I like Ted Cruz. I did not like him originally, but he's kind of grown on me. I like Ted Cruz. Shout out to Ted. Not perfect, of course, but I like Ted. Thank you to Charles Turner Jr., who says Magnificent was just discussing how some people at CPAC are too neocon establishment globalists, as voiced by Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is a nut. Nick Fuentes, I'm going to talk about him, but he's right about there being a lot of neocon type people there. I never get invited to things like that, to CPAC or anything. I've been invited to other PACs, but not CPAC. And I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It's a weird, I put it to you like this. Like Hudson said, CPAC is normally in Maryland, basically DC, at National Harbor, because it's a lot of DC people that are up there. A lot of the hill that are up there having a party. So if you're not on the hill, hanging out, talking to lobbyists and whatnot, you're not really part of the clique. That's generally how it goes. Now, you could be an outsider, but it's rare that you get an outsider coming in. That's why they had young Pharaoh in there. They know who young Pharaoh was. So they invited him talking about, oh, he's a black guy talking about, they know who he was because they don't have anybody outside of the DC bubble. That's the whole issue with CPAC, in my humble opinion. So I think he's right about that. But some of these guys are clowns that they have up there that shouldn't be there anyway, but I digress. Thank you to Justice who says, I'm on your head tonight, hashtag losing debate, hashtag no sliding. Hey, good luck with that, man. If you think you're going to be able to win a debate, man, I say good luck to you, man. Godspeed, hats off, all that good stuff. Shout out to Amy V who says, how can one, quote, be less white and not commit cultural appropriation? Asking for friends. Hey, that's a great question. If you have to be less white and there's a culture assigned to you as a white person and you can't do that, well, what are you going to do? You got to do something. You got to be able to communicate and have some type of, you can't just be an automaton. And if you are an automaton, but you're gonna steal Android culture, you're gonna steal bland personality. Like, you got to do something. So you can't really. It's a thing that doesn't make any sense. Therefore, it can't be done because it didn't make sense to begin with. David White says, 15 an hour equals $31,200 a year. Biden's way to pay for insurance is to raise taxes 52% for over $29,000 a year. That's $16.24. So that brings it down to $14,976. That's $7.20 an hour. Hey, there you go. Ryan Walker says, what do you think of Johnson & Johnson one-shot vaccine? I still don't trust it. I don't trust any of the vaccines. Okay, period. Hold on. Jedi says, you said you didn't like Trump on both sides. No, I didn't say I didn't like Trump on both sides. I say they didn't like Trump on both sides, meaning the left and the right did not like Trump when he came into office. Not all of the right, obviously, but all the left. But a lot of the right did not like him because he was not the establishment. But not me. I've been a fan from Trump. I was a fan of Trump when he had all these debates and he just won me over. When he first ran, I thought he was just joking. I was like, really, Trump, you going for president? I thought it was a joke. But then when I saw him out there on stage, I couldn't deny what I was seeing. It's like, man, he's really doing good out here on the debate stage. He has solid points. He's a solid figure out there. Looks really good, confident. I like him. So his debate performance won me over in 2015-16. Apple says, thoughts on TV show Young Rock, opinion on Dwayne. I have no idea, never heard of it before until just right now. I don't know anything about it. I don't really watch TV too much. Shout out to Apple who says, victory ABL, your video stomped Coca-Cola intertwined. Yeah, so shout out to Carlin Borisenko. Shout out to me and other guys out there that did the video about Coca-Cola and their wokeness that they're on. So after we did our video about how they had the employee program talking about be less white, the program was removed from LinkedIn's website. It was on there 3 days prior to when they took it off. I did a video showing you guys where it was at on LinkedIn. I put a link to it in my video on the website, but it was gone like 2 or 3 days later. Friends and Fishing with Paul says, sir. Rickety Rex says, did anyone see Jim Acosta at CPAC trying to stop Trump from speaking and blaming him for the Capitol? Caitlin Bennett has a video asking him for proof. I did not see that, but I saw like a thumbnail of her trying to speak to him, but I did not watch it yet. All right. Apple says, Bill Gates drinks poo juice and I feel and will feed us fake meat. He also says, Donna says she's oppressed by the patriarchy. Thoughts? Well, if she's oppressed by the patriarchy, they're sure giving a whole lot of money for not much talent. I mean, she's getting buku dinero. So I'm not sure how that is the case. I did see a video of her house and there was a rat running around, a live rat, like a rodent, like a little, Master Splinter. It was running around her house. So maybe she's oppressed by rodents, rats, roaches, or whatever, but not by the white man. But different story, I digress. Shout out to Noel who says, voted for the first time at age 34, and it was for Trump. Congratulations, man. Thank you for voting. Never cared for it, but my dad opened up my eyes and ABL solidified my decision. Couldn't be happier to finally find direction in my beliefs. Hey, man, thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. Glad I can help you get in the right direction to being able to participate and vote. Thank you, man. Amy says, Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. What's all this division for? It's modern segregation. This is setting up a civil war. Tom McDonald, right? Jedi says, you think the GTA thing is a dual-edged sword, or I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't really get your thought process. Charles says, I will quote two people here, Laura Ingram and Jericho Green. LeBronica James needs to shut up and dribble. What an over-emotional idiot. Apple says, black female mayors in Chicago, Washington, Atlanta, Washington, D.C., ATL, Baltimore, racism. Well, hey, no, not really. It's just you got majority black areas voting for black female, voting for mama to be the mayor, basically. That's what's going on with that, but different story, I digress. Only One Faith says, Plato believed that that not the most numerous ones, but the best ones should govern. Well, it makes sense to me. Whoever's the best, go out there and do what you got to do. Nathan says, LeBron wants to combat justice all over the world, aside from China. Exactly. It was funny because Daryl Morey, who was a former GM of the Houston Rockets basketball team, he put out a tweet during the whole Hong Kong kerfuffle saying, free Hong Kong. And then, of course, the NBA and China are linked at the hip, so he couldn't do that. That's very anti-communist party China, so he couldn't do that. He was let go after, 18 years after that. He was a long-time GM of the Rockets. He had been there for raising kids and everything in Houston. But anyway, I digress. So LeBron said that Daryl Morey's tweet was uneducated and he shouldn't have said it, basically attacking Daryl Morey for saying free Hong Kong. Okay, but you woke and all this and that, LeBron. That's funny how that works. Shout out Black and White News. Shout out to you, boss. Black and White News says, why doesn't LeBron say anything about the racist comments and his boy China? Joe, start it over again so I can read it properly. From Black and White News, and shout out to y'all. And you guys subscribe to Black and White News right here on the YouTubes. Why doesn't LeBron say anything about the racist comments his boy China Joe Biden has been saying about black people? This man is a LeBron. This is a man LeBron campaigned for a fool. This is a man LeBron campaigned for like a fool, and China Joe thinks we are dumb. Exactly. Can't use the internet, can't do much of anything. So shout out to Black and White News. Y'all go ahead and subscribe to them right now. Thank you to my restart for the emoji donation. Shout out to hold on. Where was I at? Thank you to Apple, who says Amazon pulls Justice Thomas documentary thoughts. I mean, yeah, you know what? Now, Clarence Thomas, obviously, Supreme Court Justice, black conservative. They don't like conservatives, number one. They don't like black conservatives, because that's even worse than the conservative, because we're a traitor to our race, number two. And then number three, he was in favor of looking into the voter fraud claims that Trump made. He was in favor. He was voting for stuff because, remember, a lot of these Supreme Court cases were not unanimous, that did not go through. And Clarence Thomas voted for, I think, all of them. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. So they're punishing him for his support of the voter fraud thing, and also for being a conservative and being black at the same time. Three deadly sins right there. That's what's going on with that. Because it is Black History Month. You would think, okay, you have a sitting Supreme Court justice and he's black. So Black History Month, perfect time, but not for Clarence Thomas. Shout out to Adam, who says, why do people listen to athletes and celebs political advice? Because they're popular and they don't know anybody else to listen to. They don't watch the news, so they listen to them. Daniel says, we should all have relations till we are the same. Problem solved. Amy says, Monopoly is about to get canceled. For what? Why are they going to cancel Monopoly? What did Monopoly do? But is the shoe not a Jordan? It needs to be a Jordan to be culturally appropriate. I don't understand. I don't get it. Louis from Spain says, with this one, 2,000 videos, my friend. And that's a man with a mission. A doctor saves lives. ABL saves souls from the darkest lies. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. 2,000 videos on the channel. I've been grinding hard. So thank y'all for watching. Couldn't do it without you. Shout out to Gregory for your donation. Thank you to Lee Morey III for your gold donation. Jedi says, let me see. TJ Jones. Oh, Jedi already. Thank you for your donation. Nathan Roberts says, Fuentes into weird ethno state crap. Thank you to TJ Jones for becoming a member of the ABL squad. Lewis from Spain says, they've been sold from the Sea of Lies, Red Pill and Sorcerer. Here he comes with an army of 2,000 videos. Now he stands. Choose one, and you're done. Danny, thank you for your donation. Rickety Rex says, I died laughing when Ted Cruz mocked AOC at CPAC. Still waiting for a photo shoot at the Biden concentration camps. Hilarious. Amy V says, honest question. Why am I white, but someone else born here is Korean or Indian or Russian? I'm 100% Scandinavian, but born in USA. That's a good question. You know, that's why I always say, when somebody asks me, what am I say American. You can see I'm black, that's fine or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm an American. If I go to Africa, I'm not one of them. I got the same color. I look the same, like a Nigerian or something like that, West African, but I'm an American. If I go over there, they're going to say, you're Akata, you're American. Oh, my friend, you're an American. Oh, that's what they're going to say. They're not going to say that you're one of us. But anyway, Gregory says, sending millions to Pakistan treason? Who decides what is treason? The people committing it sounds crazy. And Jedi also says, do you think it's had good and bad effects? Nah. It's a video game. It ain't no good and bad effects. Like I said, the game's been around since forever, since the 70s. So what was the blame back then? It's always a scapegoat. The same gangs that were around in the 70s with Jeff Fort and whatnot in Chicago are still there. The Bloods and the Crips, all of them, they're still there. So nah, the video games, nothing to do with it. What was the blame back then? It's always an external source to blame. But video games is an easy way to blame them because they got violence in it. It's just like music. I think music doesn't really help a situation, but it has to be a violent environment there already for music to impact it. If the environment wasn't there already, then the music could not make an impact on it. Shout out to Amy who said supposedly the lower income properties are based on black neighborhoods. Wow, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. But you know what? That's a no-win situation. Now, that is true because Monopoly is based on Atlantic City. So it's true to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's just not. And if they change it, then they're gonna say, I don't know what they're gonna do, but like make the streets fake. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's weird. It's dumb. All right. Marcus Edwards says, ABL took your advice and told my friend that supports Black Lives Matter that they raised $10 billion. He had no idea they raised any money. Oh my God. Wow. Really? So Marcus Edwards told me that he told his friend that Black Lives Matter raised $10.6 billion with a B billion dollars. He had no idea they raised any money. That's crazy. Hey man, thank you for spreading information out there and informing people about what's really happening. Thank you to Tyrannius who says people of color can't use the internet, fake vote Biden. And thank you to Jennifer who says cartel and Biden administration own America. Okay. Time for the calls. You guys have been very good tonight. Thank you for the super chats. Let's get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. Let me start Skype right quick to get it on and cracking. You guys can also call in through Skype. There's an email for that in the description box below. Go ahead and call that whenever you're ready to get rocking and rolling. And make sure everything's straight on my end, and then we're ready to get it moving. All right. Let me just hold on right here and get my settings together, and then we'll be good to go. All right. So let's do this. Let's go to the sounds. And, you know, I would love to be able to do this one time and set it, but I can't. That's not how they will allow you to do it, unfortunately. All right, so let's go ahead and get to this here. Hold on. Let's not do that. Let's not do. All right, Jordan, what's happening? Hold on 1 second, Jordan, because I'm having problems with my audio. Give me 1 second to get everything together. But I got you on, so don't go nowhere. All right. Can you hear me, Jordan?
Yeah, can I? Can you hear me?
I hear you well. What's happening?
All right. That's how's everything going?
Everything's good, man. What's happening?
Nothing much. I got to tell you, man, I'm loving the reaction to the Syria attack. You're familiar with all the posts that Biden, Harris, and Press Secretary Jen posted on Twitter like last year, like when Trump attacked Syria and during the election, when they talked about, I'm going to use military force as a last resort. Syria is a sovereign nation. Blah blah blah. I'm going to make sure there are no foreign wars. And then a month into his presidency, he does this.
Well, of course. I mean, we know what Biden is about. We know what's going on. But, that's just they are now seeing what we already know. And we were trying to tell them what was going to happen. They didn't want to listen. And now they're seeing it. So that's fine. Lesson
Yeah,
learned.
yeah. A lot. There was this one tweet. If you know the YouTuber Young Ripper, he said there was a tweet from him saying if y'all from last month saying if y'all think
Thank you for
that
saying.
Biden is going to bomb the Middle East, you Trumpers are absolutely insane. And then this happens. So, and I also love that people are trying to say, well, we wanted to get Trump out of office, but that doesn't mean we can't be critical of Biden. But here's the problem with that. You're still going to vote for Biden regardless. Your criticisms of him, with him bait and switching all of his policies, is gonna just only help him if you continue to vote for him because conservatives and Republicans are bad.
Right, of course. That's how that goes.
Yeah, and what else? There was another thing that happened. Oh yeah, the Grand Theft Auto thing. I hate the fact that we can shove all this evidence in front of people's faces saying that video games don't cause violence, and people still push this stuff. It's like it comes to a point where, I mean, what's even the point anymore? Um, Chicago specifically refuses to look at its leadership as the problem, and instead wants to push the blame onto other things. You made a good point about the logistics of that, like how that could even work with like digital downloads and whatnot. But the fact that they still peddle this nonsense of video games causing all this destruction is ridiculous.
Right, absolutely. I'm with you 100% on that one.
Yeah. Oh well. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to really say, and I got nothing else on my agenda. So I'll talk to you later, ABL.
Thank you for the
Peace.
call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Peace.
Peace. All right. Hopefully the sound and everything is good. Hopefully I'm not too quiet. Hopefully he's not too loud. But Skype is weird because you got to go through a lot of different changes and make sure it's working properly. So that's just what that is. Me make sure that everything's on the up and up. And I think I'm going to just adjust it just a little bit. And if it gets weird, again, not my fault. Okay. Matter of fact, okay, I see what I can do here. For some reason, it's not letting me adjust OBS. That's weird. But that's fine. I think this will work. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go. I call you on loudspeaker 2417. 417, hello.
Yeah. I was wanting to ask a question.
Go for it.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if our elections are crooked and they're letting dead people vote and all of that, then how are we supposed to elect politicians that aren't crooked and get these guys out of office?
Well, what you got to do is you have to be involved on a local level, because what's happening is that a lot of these elections are being screwed with on a local level by people that are just there, just regular, everyday people. And if we, meaning conservatives, those that are really caring about what's happening, if we are on the ground in these places with our hands on the ballots, making sure that everything is going right, then there'll be no need to come about later and trying to figure out what's going on, because we'll be right there when everything is going on to observe it. So we can see with our own two eyes and be a witness and have an impact on what happens at the places where people vote locally. That's going to be the main thing you got to worry about. So I think that'd
But
be the
when we
solution.
tried that in those larger cities, they wouldn't let us in, and
No,
they blocked the
listening to what I'm
windows. And
saying. Not listen to what I'm saying. What I said was we got to be there when the voting is happening, not afterwards, because what they were doing is trying to count afterwards when the vote was already done, not during the time when people were actually voting. See, if you try to come after the whole thing, you're too late. You got to be there when the voting is happening, touching the ballots before they even get filled in. That's what we got to do, rather than trying to come after the fact and count and do all that, because now you're too late. Be there from the very beginning.
all right, well, we'll work on that then. I don't know what else we can do. We just keep fighting.
100%, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. I love your show and love watching you.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, good night.
All right, shout out to the caller. Yeah, you got to be there straight from the beginning, because what we're trying to do is, be trying to come lately, come on the back end and try to figure things out at that point. We got to be there straight from the start. That's what we got to do. I mean, if I'm wrong about that, right about that, you guys let me know. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what's happening. All righty, let's get to the next one here. 717, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, I made it.
You made it. What's going on, sir?
Not much, man. This is Doug Ripley. How you doing?
Everything's all right, man. Can't complain.
I'm good. I'm playing the lottery tomorrow. I know that. It was my first time getting through. But anyway, so what do you think about Mr. Potato Head going woke?
That was so silly. It's like, really, come on, Mr. Potato Head, for real? Is that what we're gonna do? And then, for those that don't know, what happened was they announced Mr. Potato Head as being gender neutral. So rather than Mr. Potato Head or Miss Potato Head, it's just Potato Head. But then they tried to do damage control after the backlash, and they said, "Oh, well, it's still Mr. Potato Head, Miss Potato Head." But what they did was, on the bottom of the package, they put Mr. and Mrs. kind of small so you can't see it. It's like, really? Come on. Why go through all of that and then backtrack? For what? What are we doing? Trying to get attention, publicity? What's happening?
Pretty much. I'm like, you're like losing out on money if you do that. If you make one potato.
Right.
It's crazy. I don't know.
Right.
But man, I don't want to waste your time. I'm shocked that I even got through. So thanks, man. Thanks for taking my call. Hello, chat. Good to see you. Have a good night.
Thank you for the call. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, that was crazy. Mr. Potato Head went woke. Matter of fact, if you guys didn't see that, I'll put it on my screen right quick. To me, that's more just a funny story than anything else. That's not really something that serious, but it's just so dumb. It was dumb for them to do that, and then it was dumb for them to backtrack. It's like, if you're going to do something, go ahead and do it. Stand on it. If you're going to have a gender neutral potato head, then just have that be what it is. All right. So here is it's my Instagram, by the way, Instagram.com/Anthony B. Logan. It says, hold that tot, T-O-T, get it? Hold that tot. Your main spud, Mr. Potato Head, isn't going anywhere. While it was announced today that the Potato Head brand name and logo are dropping to Mr., I am, get it? I am proud to confirm that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere and will remain Mr. and Mr. Potato Head. So here is the packaging. You see at the very top left, it says Potato Head, right? But you see this Steve Harvey looking potato head with the big mustache and the little hat. That's Mr. Potato Head. But right there at the bottom, you see Mr. Potato Head. It's kind of small. You might not notice it. And the same thing with Mrs. Potato Head is at the bottom. But at the very top, the most noticeable thing is Potato Head. It was this whole big rollout talking about, they're going to be gender neutral and you could do whatever you want and there's no reason to. It's like, man, if you don't stop. But you know what? It's funny, but it's not funny because these are kids' toys, yes? And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to have my kids' toys be gender neutral or gender non-conforming. I don't want that. All right? But I digress. All right, calling on Skype. What's your name, boss?
Hey, ABL.
Yes.
Hi, this is Danny. How are you?
I'm all right.
Show. Thanks for taking my call.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you. I used to be a Democrat and I voted for Obama in 2008. And I used to think that since I took the red pill, I just used to think that Democrats are just misguided or misdirected. But now I think not the rank and file, but I think the leaders, the ones who set the policies, I I actually think that they hate minorities, because if you look at the policies like the minimum wage, the unlimited illegal immigration, unlimited wars, how are these good for minority and people of color? Because just look at the electronic kiosks that McDonald's is going to install with higher minimum wages. I think that the aim is to create a permanent underclass to enriching the top folks, and they just do things that sound good, like reparations, which sounds good on paper, but how do you implement it for a guy like Obama who's half black and half white? Do you give him reparations or do you take it from him? Like, how do you decide? So I just think that the top guys in the Democrat Party, like the Hillary Clintons of the world, I think they actually hate minorities, and that's my personal view.
Well, you got a point. Definitely got a point there, because if they had the best interests at heart for minorities, then they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. They wouldn't have these harmful things. I think it's less about hating minorities and more about just trying to gain power and not even really caring about who to step on. They don't care, because really the truth is they're hurting everybody. They're hurting minorities because of the policies they got on the books that create more crime, more violence, and they create a permanent underclass of people. So they have bad policies for minorities, but also for whites as well. I mean, look at the family structure. There was a report back in 1960 from Daniel Patrick Moynihan, a Democrat, and it was talking about the state of the family. And the black family at that time had a 20% single parent household rate, which was an emergency back then. It's very high. 20% kids born outside of wedlock. So at that point, 80% of the kids in the black community were born inside of wedlock, but 20% was an alarm. It was a problem. At the same time, in 1960, only 5% of white kids were born outside of wedlock. So 95% of white kids were born in wedlock. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, fast forward to 2021, 75% of black kids are born outside of wedlock. So it was 20%, that was an emergency. 75%, it's almost like you're toast. How can you survive like that, you see? But at the same time, in the white community, it went from 5% to 25%. And remember, 20% was bad for us back then. It's higher than it was for us back then. So the policies have impacted everybody in a negative way. Okay, all this racial stuff and what it say? Critical race theory, making white feel like they're just a scum of the earth. So it's a negative policy for everyone, but it affects different races differently, if that makes any sense.
It does. Thanks, ABL. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your call.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Yeah, Democrat policies, they're equal across the board as far as being harmful, but they impact people differently depending upon where you are in the country, what kind of culture you subscribe to. But it's all harmful. It's all bad. It's all bad. All right, so let's get to the next one. 262, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 262, hello.
ABL, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right. About yourself?
Not too bad. I just got a quick question for you, man.
Alrighty.
I was wondering, what is your opinion on future elections? Do you think elections in the future are going to be fair? And I'm referring to a presidential.
I think they can be, yes. I mean,
well, I hope they are.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying this earlier. Somebody called me with the same question earlier. I'll give you just a quick recap.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Now, what we got to do is just be on the ground level in local elections. That's the main thing. We got to be on the ground level, because if we're not, then what we're trying to do is come on the back end and then try to count and see what's going on and try to figure out what happened later, rather than being there when the ballots are being cast, when people are voting.
Yeah.
You got to be there in the process on the ground ourselves as volunteers or whatever, rather than trying to come back later and count and see what's happening.
No, I get you on that. I've been paying attention to all this stuff, and including your material. I follow most of your media, and I do appreciate it. I'm a fan.
Well,
I was just, like I said, I was just wondering the integrity of presidential elections. Where if you were to put a percentile on it, do you have a number?
I'm not really sure what you mean. As
Is
far
the
as
integrity of presidential elections, obviously the next one being 2024.
As far as a chance that it will be fine, I'm not sure what you actually asking me.
Well, basically what I'm saying is that there's a lot of speculation that there's not going to be any more Republicans involved in presidential elections anymore, because the whole system is gone. And I know you heard about what I'm talking about. I'm just wondering how much validity that there is to that, in your opinion.
Well, I don't really know. That's probably my best answer to you, honestly.
Okay. Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I just hope you make yourself to the White House, because we need true Americans like yourself in office.
Well, thank you.
If you actually want to go to the White House.
Hey, you never know, man. But thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Hey, got love for you, man.
All right, now. Thank you.
Good night.
All righty. Let's get to some more. Let's go 573. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, it's Tyler. How's it going, man?
Everything's all right. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Just kind of crazy to hear this old video games argument again. You know, I remember this probably back in the 90s or early mid-2000s after some of the school shootings. And it's not unlike the satanic panic that went on during the 1980s when I was younger, between 10 and 19 years old or so, when people were blaming Dungeons and Dragons role-playing games for suicides. People got too caught up in the game, allegedly. You know, this kind of stuff was even on 60 Minutes back in the day, or people blaming Judas Priest rock songs for suicide. And then the video game stuff came along. I mean, the long and the short of it is, it's just common sense math. How many people do you think have played, let's say, first-person shooter video games since Castle Wolfenstein and Doom and games like that back in the mid-90s, let's say? And you fast forward to today, Call of Duty, all these other games, Grand Theft Auto 15 and whatever. I mean, there have been a million of those. How many people play them, and how many people commit these carjackings and mass shootings? It just doesn't add up. And it's embarrassing that they would insult the intelligence of anybody in this world, trying to, take away from self-responsibility for one's actions.
Exactly. 100% correct. And it's also a way for them to absolve themselves, because they're in power, they're elected officials. So rather than doing things themselves that can actually stop some of the violence and the crime, like, I don't know, locking some of these guys up that commit the crime, rather than just giving them a slap on the wrist all the time, they say, oh, well, it's the violent video games. Well, what was to blame back in the 70s when the same kind of crime was going on? I mean, was it
Ouija boards?
Right. It's always something to blame, and it's always something different, rather than just saying, hey, let's go out here and make a difference, have better policies, and tighten the city up. That's what you should be doing, rather than just using the scapegoat like video games.
And don't get me wrong, in some of these cities, maybe even St. Louis and some other areas here in Missouri, maybe the carjackings and things are going up. And I would advise people, we saw a lot of this last year. People for the first time were buying guns, and I thought that was great. Unfortunately, guns are kind of hard to find, and ammo, is like toilet paper was last year. It's worse. But if you're thinking about that, if you're actually doing it, be responsible, get some training, and be armed wherever you can legally. Of course, the laws are going to vary from area to area. It is a dangerous world. Most of us are going to get through it without being attacked or carjacked or whatever. But it's something to think about, and a lot of people have. And I say go for it if you can find a good gun and some ammo, but do it responsibly because, things can go down. So that's just food for thought for people that may have picked up guns in the last year or so.
100% correct.
ABL, have a great evening.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. Excellent call. Yeah, blaming the video games. Yeah, I remember that Mortal Kombat scary back in the 90s. I remember that gangster rap and Mortal Kombat and all this and that. It's like, okay, how about raising your kids properly? How about that? How about not joining the gang when you're 12 years old or having an environment where the gang is even out there? Just tighten yourself up, have better responsibility. That's just a long and short. All this, finger pointing and blaming, it's kind of silly. 401, okay. 401 hung up. I'll lose too late to the trigger on that one. I'll get you back 401. Don't even worry about it. So let's get to the next one here. 919, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to? 919, hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I heard you well. Who am I speaking to?
Bobby.
All right, man. What's going on?
What's up? I just wanted to say hi. I've never been on your live stream before. I'm 12 years old. And I just wanted to say I'm glad that someone finally stuck up for the sports situation because politics should not be allowed in sports.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. You should just be able to play sports, have a good time, enjoy yourself, rather than have politics get put into it. Those two things shouldn't be mixing.
Yes, sir. Because I actually play soccer too, and I don't like that stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, is that a problem where you live, like the politics and the Black Lives Matter, or can you just play soccer and have fun?
We can just play soccer and have fun.
That's perfect. That's the way it should be, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, well, have a great day, or have a great night.
All right, thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay.
All right, shout out to the youngster, 12 years old. Hey, playing soccer, having a good time. That's the way it should be. Rather than Black Lives Matter, hands up, don't shoot. I'm glad he was able to enjoy that. So shout out to the young one. All righty. 12 years old. That's crazy. Like when I was 12, I had no idea about politics. These kids, I'm telling you, these kids are smart. 300 IQ already. 208, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh my, ABL. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. I was trying to hear down the list of who profits the most from the pain and division from others. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts that I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to be nervous, but disrespectful. But whatever happened to the proud blacks of the South, that segregation, that forced, because that was it, right? Y'all were going to take over the world. So military guy, I've been on deployments. We've been down to Louisiana in the South a lot for training, was in Kentucky for basic training and whatnot. And that's it. Like, that's what I'm trying to, excuse me. Whoever, because that lifestyle, that integration, that South, those people, the French and the white, the music, the culture, that was all something that man, so important and so powerful. And it was like, at some point they made whoever, they just couldn't let y'all, like, I'm not trying to make it sound racist. Like,
hold on. Wait.
Sorry, sir.
Just say what you got to say. You don't got to try to, you know what I mean? It's okay. I ain't going to be upset. Just say what you got to say so I can understand what's going on.
All right, sir. So it's okay if like blacks live together. Like, that's what, right? Because that's what it was. Like, you guys took care of each other. Like, we beat the fuck out of you, white people.
Okay, can't cuss though. You can't cuss. You can't say what you got to say.
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
So
Sorry.
okay, I understand what you're saying. So basically, we live among each other, and it's all right. We live among each other.
Right.
We do for each other.
Right.
We build businesses
Right.
and everything else. That shouldn't be a problem. And really, I got no problem with that. See, my thing about integration, segregation, my only problem was the forced nature of it. It was a government regulation. I feel like if you want to live among blacks, among whites, you should be able to do that. If that's what if you want to do that, that should be your choice. Okay.
Correct.
So that I think there's nothing wrong with that. The only issue is when the government says that you can't do this, you can't do that, then it becomes a matter of control and you're constricting me. I don't like that. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with black business and building stuff up. That's totally fine. Same thing with white or an Asian and whatever else.
That's what I'm saying. That time, that forced integration was like whoever was in power, whoever stood to gain or lose the most power or whatever was like, we cannot have these, because it was whites and blacks and everybody that got the blacks to where they were, right? Just like all that civil rights, all that, it seemed like it was for naught because we weren't going to let you, whoever was in power, maybe it was white people, maybe it's a cabal, maybe it's aliens, I don't know. But it seems like they picked that moment where like, oh no, we can't let this momentum keep going because who knows what, they'll own stuff, they'll have their own thing, and we can't let them do that. You know, like that's what I'm trying to say is that.
Nah, I get it. I see where you're coming from. I do see where you're coming from, and that's been the talk we have a lot. That I've had quite a lot over the years since I've been even a liberal, like going back to like 10, 15 years ago. That's like kind of an old topic that we discuss in the black community. That's not really a public thing. But you're right about that. I think the only issue, like I said, the only issue was the forced nature of both ways, the forced nature of segregation and integration. If it was a matter of just letting people do what they want and live how they be, that should have been the primary focus rather than trying to force things one way or the other. Just let everybody live.
Correct, sir. Correct.
Well,
thank you
for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Hey, ABL, I appreciate you. And if you ever come to Idaho, let me know. And I have, I'll get a bed ready and you don't drink, so a warm glass of milk and a nice steak.
All right, man. Thank you for the call.
Appreciate you.
All righty. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, no milk for me. That's going to be vomited all over your sheepskin rug. Give me a nice glass of give me some good hot tea, some ginger ale, and we'll be ready to rock. All right. Let's go to the next call. And the number to call is 434-658-1220. Again, 434-658-1220. The number is always in the description box below. If you want to get in through Skype, there's an email for that in the description box below as well. Just expand that. You'll be ready to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Let's get to the next one. And let's go. 480, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hold on just a second. I gotta turn it on here. I'm so glad I made it. ABL, what's going on, man? This is Earth Monkey. I gotta say, I just love your show, man. You doing this, hearing from everybody. That guy saying, I'll get you a warm bed ready and a steak. Just heartwarming. I love it. What I try to compare you to is kind of in sense a black Ben Shapiro, the way you speak. Not in the quickness, I would say, but more so just in your terminology, your mindset, and your sense of humor. You're really like a Ben Shapiro, just kind of different era, different area, and also a little bit of the black community, which gotta love the culture there. Which I'm gonna bring it to, which last time we talked wasn't the best on theology, but when I look at culture, do you think it's based on moral, or was it? That basically before it was good versus evil, hero versus villain, and now more so it's based on a political idea as more so the evil, and the character tries to battle it and then wins. So more so just an idea as the evil rather than an actual villain. so that not so much you're looking towards a hero or a moral that solves an issue, more so that you're looking at an issue and how everybody can put themselves in that shoes and how we all are oppressed by it and can't really relate to more so of a hero. But that also kind of brings it into the game kind of sense. And, before everything was basically a more so conservative political view. That's why we didn't ever see it until an issue now. They attack the games because in the end, and hopefully this clears up like the double-edged sword question, that in the game, you're a conservative. You're doing stuff for you and the people around you and what's actually happening in the game so that you progress. When you look towards like culture now and music, you're looking up to an idol. And they're trying to do the same thing with athletes, even to bring it into that. But athletes really, what your main focus is as an athlete is to do your job, not be an idol. Your job is to do the sport and do it correctly and be the best you can be. And that's all that matters. And that's all that should matter, is how you can be the best you can be at your job. It's not, we shouldn't idolize sports. We should look at it as, man, this guy does a really good job. He's really good at his job. Well, his job is the sport, and we all love watching the sport because there's really good people who do their job well. And that's a conservative mindset, is do you and do the best that you can do, and your rights are only given to you through God. And at that point, nothing can change that but you, because we don't have a divine connection in sense to where we can just connect to that. We are more so, we need to do us and be ourselves. And when we look at athletes, when we look at people who are doing music, before it was people playing an instrument, you would look up to that. Now it's people saying random stuff like Cardi B talking about her WAP. I mean, you look back in the day, and it was a brown-eyed girl talking about a man who was not maybe playing an instrument, but at least looking up to a woman as her eyes were the important thing, not her tripping, whatever. Excuse my language if I went a little too far, but it blows my mind with everything that's going on right now. And really, my question would be, do you think culture is really based on moral?
Based on morals?
Yeah.
I can't really call it. It's a lot of different things. I feel like the way it is now in America is based on what's popular, but it was culture. The basis of culture is tradition. What people have done for a long time, what always has been done. But then what's going on now is like whatever's popular on Instagram or TikTok. That's a big part of culture as well. That's how a lot of these,
And now, is that tradition based on a nuclear family, or is it based on an individual? And I think it's more so based, your tradition gets passed down through family. And how do you have families? Through a nuclear family, right? So, I mean, even to that point, if it is based on tradition, it would still bring it down to the fact that your tradition's based off of a moral to have a nuclear family, so you can pass that down, right?
Well, I mean, is it moral? I mean, I'm not sure if that's morals. It can be. It can be a moral thing if you're religious, but it could also be a means of survival.
Well,
I mean, if you have a family, you got to be together. If you want to have kids, you got to be together. Like at one point in time, if you were a mother having children, you could not survive without the father. It was impossible. You had to have the father there. So if you wanted to have kids, it was an imperative to have a family structure because you couldn't survive without it. But now what's happening is that the government can step in and be the father. So there's no longer that imperative to have that nuclear family. And you see the result, you see a big time decline in nuclear family. That's kind of what's going on.
Yeah, the nuclear family is the most important thing to me. And I think that really is more so of a moral base than going around and sleeping around with whoever and doing whatever. And that's where abortion comes in. And then that's where I just don't like death. That's why we kind of disagreed on capital punishment, but that's a different story.
Right, I'm with you.
But regardless, I appreciate you, ABL. My channel got the second strike, so I'm not able to upload on that one, but I did start another channel. If anybody would like to follow, it's called Stone Report. I got 5 subscribers. I'm trying to talk And I love what you do because
You're trying to talk, but I got to get to the next call, sir. So thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
No. I appreciate you. I love you, man. I hope you have a good night and appreciate you all.
Thank you for the call. I'm trying to talk. Yeah, I know you're trying to talk, but you got to go. Sorry. All right. When you call the show, please be nice. That's all I ask. Don't do nothing like that. Okay. 539, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Lois from Oklahoma.
All righty, what's going on?
I just wanted to find out what is going on with this victim culture. I don't understand it because I was raised here in Oklahoma. My mom and dad split up when I was 6 years old, and I lived on water, gravy, and bread with my grandparents. I even ate what do you call them, a possum. It's either that or die or not starve.
Right.
And I get tired of all these people that's always talking about, victim stuff, and I'm saying, you guys, you act like nobody else ever goes through that.
Right. I mean, people, I feel like it's just an industry out there that wants to paint people as victims. And a lot of people that try to claim the victimhood status did not actually live that life. They live very nice lives. Mom and dad and had everything they wanted. It was never any kind of hardships. To try to claim that life to feel like they're part of the so-called struggle.
I was took away from my mom and dad when I was 6 years old and did not see my mom but 3 times in the whole time before I was 18. My dad visited me at a homeschool for the veterans every single what do you call it, monthly deal where you go to see your kids. And I don't understand it. Why white people act like they're the only ones that ever go through this?
Right. I mean, I understand you 100%. I really do. So I think people that are really just aware of what's happening around them understand that fact. But a lot of people, they want themselves to be the center of attention. They want to claim the victimhood for themselves, but it's not even like that. I mean, everybody has their story. Everybody has their own things that they have to go through. And people should just know that's what it is and stop trying to feel like they're some kind of special person because they want to claim some victimhood status. Everybody has what they go through.
Did they not realize that the people in Kentucky and the Appalachian Mountains went through more than I did?
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. They keep playing victim all the time. I get tired of it.
I hear you. I really do.
Well, thank you, ABL, and appreciate you answering my call. I've been trying to get on here forever.
Well, thank you for your call and sharing your story with me. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, ABL. I love your show.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, shout out to the caller. Wow. That escalated pretty quick. Prayers out to the caller. Hopefully everything's all right with her. But I really do understand where she's coming from. I really do. All right. Yes, somebody sent me a message on Skype. Yes, you can call in through Skype. I'm gonna just respond to you. Yes. All right. Let's get to the next call here. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 678. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, my name is Jack, and I like your show. You're cool. I like what you talk about, politics, and trying to just do the right thing. I'm a little nervous.
It's all right. It's just you and me, nobody else.
Yeah, I'm watching you live on my computer. But, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I watch you, Officer Tatum, the Hodge twins, I think, the conservative twins. I think you guys are cool. But, yeah, I just, everyone has a story. And I was talking to my brother today about my mom. My mom, I'm African-American or Black or whatever, but my mom's from Jamaica, and she never had food like a lot of people had or in America. or she used to eat bread for just for the day, a slice of bread. And she came over to America by her dad. And you know, she was hard on us, like I have my sisters and brother. She has 4 kids, and she never complained like about being a victim. And I'm inspired by the last caller. I don't know what to add to your conversation. I think, you know, I'm just so nervous, but I'm trying to add something of value. But yeah, my mom came over to America, and she worked from the ground up and took care of us. And I fight with my mom a lot, but I respect her. And I think it's important not to be a victim. You know, what is
the conflict? What is the conflict with your mom over? She's saying she came from a lot. She's like she came from humble beginnings and, you know, made it to America, made something of herself. So what's the conflict there?
It's kind of, I don't really want to get into, because it's kind of personal. I'm not comfortable, but for one of the things is she took her anger out on us, the kids. But like, we can't really say anything because she's taking care of us. She always manages to put food on the table, clothe us, take us to school. You know, she was there. She was a great mom, but she's verbally abusive, physically, you know, a lot of fights and police being called over, and you know, it's just a lot. And I struggle with her, and I love her, because even though for years I said I hate you, I wish you were not my mom, but I don't know, I don't know, but she took care of us, and like I could have not had that. I could have been homeless, nothing, you know, foster care system, or it's just like I don't know. It's like I wanted not like my mom, but she really took care of us, and I'm really grateful for her to being strong, because she's a single mom. She didn't have to do it with any man. All my sisters and brother, we all come from different dads. But she kept us together and healthy. We weren't on drugs. We do my sister is like A student, you know, like scholarships. My brother A student, you know, like we all really turned out great.
So you guys turned out well. Yeah. But your mom, I mean, she coming from the yard, back at yard in Jamaica. I think I bread in Jamaica. You know, I already know what time it is. You know, I was Jamaican aunt myself, matter of fact, so I already know what time it is. You got to understand where she coming from. Oh, yeah. Like, how did she grow up? You talking about like actual real poverty, like living in like third world type conditions, then coming to America. Yeah. How she had to grow up, how she had to be, how she had to behave back then. It's hard to transition into becoming an American and, you know, living like that. But she did a very good job. The values that she learned from back then may have been rough and it may have been hard on you guys, but it worked out pretty well. But what I would say to you, just for some advice, I'm not, you know, I'm not trying to get into your business. I'm just saying maybe you could talk to somebody and work it out, because you may have some things you need to just work through about your mother. Maybe you can forgive her if you've not done that already. Because I think that she had the best interest for you, but the way she showed it was just not quite the same as the way that others may do it here in this country. But it was like that back in Jamaica.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like, I tried so hard. Like, you didn't give me this pep talk today, and now I feel alone and or lost. And my brother was saying, life does not give you pep talks. If you go to work, you do your work, come home, do it again. Like, you can't wait for life to give you a pat on the back. And that was like, and I go through a lot of like mental illness and stuff, and I see like counselors and stuff, and I'm so picky, like, I want them to notice my accomplishments, but it's really like a government type.
I understand. I don't have a lot of time right here. So, I have a lot of time right here, but I would say the main thing you got to do, your mom might be your kind of stumbling block. You got to be able to forgive her. Once you can forgive her, then that can just fix a lot of different things that you got going on. That can really be maybe your roadblock if you've not done that yet. Have you done that yet? Forgiving your mom?
I've tried. I'm 25.
Do it.
And
Do it.
Yeah.
And once you do it for real and believe it in your heart, you'll feel so much better. Trust me, it'll change your life. But thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Keep on doing you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, forgive your mom. You know, she's from Jamaica. One thing I bread back a yard. I already know what it is. Forgive your mom. She's just coming from that kind of environment where it's different. My parents are the same way. Coming from West Virginia, it's a whole different world. And then coming to Virginia, you know, it's just different. Culture, it's a culture clash. You going to school and you seeing how teachers are, and you coming back to the house is different. That's all. All right. 530, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Thomas in Minnesota.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, ABL, it's good to talk to you again. I had called you before the election when we were making some of our predictions, and I'd actually correctly predicted that Florida, Ohio, and Iowa would all fall for Trump, but I didn't take into consideration ballot harvesting, which ended up unfortunately turning the tables in the other direction. But what I called about, I would like to actually argue that America is already an inverted totalitarian state with a managed democracy. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those terms or not, but when you think about it, we really already meet all the criteria. Free speech, for all practical purposes, does not exist in the United States any longer. Instead of the government ruining your life for having the wrong opinions, they just recruit their well-connected friends in corporate America to do it for them. So you have that. We already effectively have a state-run media. Anybody watching the coverage of the inauguration with the media gushing over Joe Biden as North Korean state TV would be praising Kim Jong-un, how could you ever expect these people to ever report critically on this administration in any way? They're all singing the same tune. They have their friends in Silicon Valley to silence their opponents for them. And so, if we, in effect, already have a state-run media, you can be basically censored for even disagreeing with CDC information, which is a government entity. So, I don't know what else you can say other than that is, in fact, a state-run media. And then you look at our elections. We essentially have fixed elections now. Elections are no longer elections. They're ballot harvesting contests. That's all they really are. Whoever can hire the most activists to go set up as many booths like they did in Wisconsin, where they were actually taking votes in the middle of a public park. That's not an election. That's a giant Easter egg hunting contest.
I'm gonna pause right here. Pause for a second, caller. Now, is there no way that we can be involved with the election process on the ground rather than trying to afterwards go and count and see what happened and pick up the pieces? Can we be involved with that process on the ground? Because really, at the end of the day, it's just people. It's not like a different species of, animal. It's people. So can we get involved with the process on the ground to prevent that from happening?
I don't know. Look what you're going up against. You're going up against the titans of Wall Street and Silicon Valley.
I'm talking about like elections locally.
They can throw at the political
Caller,
process.
listen to me now. I'm talking about local elections. Like, let's say you live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and there's an election that happens, every 4 years, general election. Can we as people get involved with that election on the ground? Can we do the same thing everywhere, all over the United States?
I think with local elections, they can't do that yet. They can't do that yet with local elections. But any national or statewide election, they're going to be able to do it.
Well, local. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. A local election, every election is local. There's no you don't go to D.C. to vote. We vote locally, regardless of what it's for, whether it's for local people or for the president and everybody else. So my question is, can we be involved on the ground in local elections for national office? Because at the end of the day, who was there in the places? It's local people. So can we do it as conservatives?
I don't know. I really don't know with what we're going up against.
Can we try to do that? Can that be a thing that we try to do, is get involved with, local GOP parties and volunteer for the elections? Can we do that and figure out a way to try to get around all this stuff?
Yeah, I would hope that we can. But again, I mean, just looking at what we are going up against when they have enough activists out on the ground to literally go collect a ballot from every single person on their voter rolls, when you've got money pouring in from Facebook and from all these giant Silicon Valley entities, I don't know. I mean, I live in Minnesota here. I'm at the point where I'm not even sure why I vote anymore. I never one time has anybody ever won that I voted for here. Every single time, they just seem to find a big slew of mail-in ballots at the last minute, whether I'm voting for governor here, whether I'm voting for attorney general, whether I'm voting for president or whoever it is. Now, we seem to do well on local levels as far as like state representatives and that sort of thing. But as far as statewide elections go, it just seems like they're always going to be able to find a big bag of ballots in an urban center.
So what do we do? Like, what's your proposal for what we do? Like, how do we just go about our everyday life?
I think we just have to form local communities and take care of each other. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any answers, but this is all I see right now on the ground at this point. I see a country that doesn't have free speech. I see a country that does not have freedom of expression, that has a state-run media, and that appears to have fixed elections. They even admitted to it. You know, as long as we are trying to just drum up money from local supporters, and we're going up against these behemoths in Silicon Valley and Wall Street that have more money than the GDPs of many small countries. It's very disheartening for me. It's very disheartening for me. But I think maybe it's time that people did take a step back and take a look at what we've really become as a country. I mean, we've reached a point in a country, you can have your entire life destroyed for publicly stating that there are only two genders. And they can, just for that, you can have your entire life taken away, your ability to earn a living taken away. You could lose everything you own with having committed no crime whatsoever.
I got you. I'm sorry to call it back. I had to get to the next one here. Thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
Sure, no problem.
All right. Shout out to the caller. That's kind of doom and gloom for me, just to be honest. I understand where he's talking. I respect his viewpoint. I understand where he's coming from, but I just don't really look at things that way. That's just me personally. But hey, I respect his viewpoint 100%. Let's get to the next one here. All righty. Skype caller, what's happening?
Hey, Anthony.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Everything's all right. How about you guys?
Good, we good. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We're on the old computer, so I hope you can hear and maybe see us too.
Oh, everything's all right. Sounds just fine.
Good. Well, I finally woke up. It wasn't a dream. We lost the election.
Yeah, that's right.
Couldn't believe it. I figured if I slept long enough, I'd wake up and the dream would be over, but not so.
Yeah.
Something kind of interesting in California that I think is very comical, though. They're really close to recalling Governor Newsom. Yeah. And they're going to make sure every vote is legitimate. They're gonna comb through them. They're going to verify signatures. And here in Georgia, they still will not let anyone see any ballots. Can you believe it?
It's pretty interesting how they want to make sure that all the votes are there and everything is legitimate. But yes, we can't do the same thing on our end. And if we try to say, hey, let's look at that and see what's going on. Oh, you're inciting the insurrection. You guys are not. Wait a minute. You guys are doing the same thing that we're doing. So how is it different?
Right. Exactly. Because I think they said that instead of just stopping at 1,500 votes or 1.5 million, they wanted to go and get close to 2 million because they know that some will be thrown out. So anyways, I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, the signatures, they're checking the ballots. So anyhow.
They won't check the ballots, but they want to check in signatures.
Right.
Well, yeah, they want to make sure they're legitimate.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a big deal being governor of California.
Now, my question would be who they're going to put in there because they can take.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Right. Because, I mean, what we don't want is a guy that's worse than him.
Yep. And you know, all of them say they're not till they get there.
Right. Exactly. Then you see what they're really about once they start to do certain things.
I guess you like my shirt, right?
Oh yeah, love it, man. Thank you for getting that. Appreciate it.
I figured I might get an email with a big discount deal. I've ordered a few. I mean,
And you know what? I got a new site coming out. I got a lot of new merch. I got like 20 shirts and hats coming out very soon. I think like top of March, I'm gonna do that. So like next week, they're all gonna come out. So I'm gonna do a lot of that type of stuff. I'll be able to have better control over this new one. So yeah, I may do that in the future.
hey, sounds great, man. Love to have some more of the great shirts. I like them. What do you think about this the law that passed a couple of days ago about gonna let a guy that says, "Hey, I'm a girl today, so I want to play with the girls." What do you think about that?
It's crazy. And the main thing is that it's dangerous because you're going to have some people that say, you know what, I identify as a girl today, but it could be a complete sex offender. And now you got a situation where somebody's going to be in danger. So nah. And it's just not going to end well. It already happened. I think, what was that? Wyoming. It was a guy that got locked up trying to do something crazy, putting a wig and a dress on. So nah, I'm definitely against it.
Yeah, that is crazy. I can't believe we had 226 representatives of this country that thought that was going to be all right.
Right.
Hey, man, you got something else, honey?
No, just wanted to say hello, and I'm feeling real positive. I'm very upset that Trump didn't win, but I feel like it uncovered a lot of bad things going on. And I think you made the comment about the local level. Here in Georgia, they're making changes to make sure voter integrity is more strict, if that's what you're looking for, is less chance of fraud. So maybe this needed to happen, Anthony.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that a lot of people on the left are going to get a wake-up call because they think that Joe Biden is one thing, but it's going to be something else, and they're going to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right, man. Hey, man, it's a great talk to you. Sorry we hadn't buzzed in a while, but do what you got to do when you can,
That's right. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
All right, bud. Talk to you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All righty. Shout out to them. Great call, as always. And thank y'all for being here. If you guys enjoy what you're hearing so far, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, then you can give me a 5-star rating. You can give me a review. You can give me a recommendation. Whatever you could do over there, I'd appreciate it if you did do that. Well, let's get to the next one. And let's go. Unknown number. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, it's Jeff calling from Canada. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I just wanted to just give you a brief bio. I come from my father was a Vietnam Air Force vet, and he was Black African American, lived in the States, and I was adopted by two white people, and I grew up in a lot of white neighborhoods in Canada, and more often than not, I was the only Black person in a schoolyard, so I was subject to my share of racism, and even that went forward into the military, and I didn't lose my mind. I didn't succumb to the anger and the resentment that so many people seem to fall victim to. And I think race is just dividing us personally. And I think they know that. And I think the government, even in Canada, uses BLM as a wedge to drive between people. And I think it's very unfortunate, and I think it does a disservice to people who are really, truly suffering. I believe that there are people that are victims of racism, and I think their voice is drowned out by people who virtue signal. I got to say something. I never in my life have seen white people, and I have lots of white people in my family. My mother's white, my father's white, but I've never seen white people accuse each other of racism. This phenomenon that I see unfolding in the streets of America and all over the world, quite frankly, in Canada as well, and it's disturbing. I don't understand where, and again, I'm white and Black. I'm mixed, just to give folks some context. So I've heard racism from Black people, and I've heard racism from white people, and it's equally wrong. It's equally disturbing, and it sickens me. And I thought I'm 57 now, but I thought that when I joined the military at 17, 18 years old, that whole thing would have dissolved. That as you got older and more mature, that racism would slip away. But unfortunately, it hasn't. But it's been replaced by this synthetic, fake racism, this fake indignation. And again, I'm referring to Black Lives Matter. I feel very badly for people who've been sucked into Black Lives Matter, because it's really not about Black lives mattering at all. And it's actually an antithesis of that. And it just really breaks my heart that even though I thought America was waking up and Canada was waking up, obviously there are people on the left and right who are still drinking the Kool-Aid. They still believe that the government is the solution, that Trump will lead us out of the wilderness, into the wilderness, or out of the wilderness. And they still believe that the left-right paradigm is going to take care of things, and it's not. You have 25,000 National Guard troops stationed in D.C. right now. What's it going to take for Americans and the world to wake up that we're under a worldwide lockdown? We're going into literally a one-world government. I'm sorry I'm not sounding very optimistic about this, but I had some hope for Trump. But again, I've always been told before Trump came in, when I woke up, that presidents are selected. They're not elected. And why would that be any different for Trump? And that question is to you, ABL.
Well, I think that there was a plan to select a president, but it didn't really go quite well. This is why the left and the right were against him. They didn't want him. They already had their thing planned out. They wanted it to be Hillary Clinton or somebody on the right that they can control, but it just wound up not being the case. They wanted it to be Jeb because that'd be another puppet. That didn't work. They wanted to be Hillary. That didn't work. So they just couldn't get their way, which is why you have guys like Paul Ryan giving speeches, going against the actual Republican nominee. Mitch McConnell's doing his thing. There was a plan to have the president get selected the way Joe Biden was with Trump, but that didn't happen. That's why he happened.
I woke up after Katrina. That's when the lights went on for me that the government essentially was a left-right paradigm, that there was no difference between a Republican and a Democrat. And I maintained that posture through the Obama administration, through the Bush administration. And Trump gave me some hope. Trump gave me a glimmer that he wasn't part of the old boys club. But you know what? Here's when the red flag went up for me, ABL, was when he met with Henry Kissinger, and they had a private meeting, and that was all I really needed to know, and that was at the very beginning of his administration, and I've seen the sort of what's the word? I don't want to mince my words here, but I saw the approach they've taken with Israel, and I'm quite frankly not down with what's going on at the border with Palestine. I don't like to see what's happening there, and that doesn't mean that I'm anti-Trump or racist, because I don't support the quote-unquote conflict that's going on between Israel and Palestine. It's a very complicated issue. But again, this whole Israel first thing made me very nervous with Trump, and I think he's the lesser of. I don't want to say he's the lesser of two evils. He's certainly not that. He's opened up the world's eyes to the fact that there is a lot of corruption. There's a lot of grift going. But one more thing. I just wanted to say about the Q thing, the QAnon thing. Have you ever sort of endorsed the QAnon concept in any way? No. Okay. What are your thoughts? Why is the media so rabid right now about QAnon? What is the threat to the mainstream media complex? If nothing.
I'm gonna answer that because I have limited time, but I'm gonna answer that right quick. The thing about Q is that they're trying to make it be like this, crazy conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, ridiculous person type of thing. Something that you need to get saved from. You got to get therapy to get out, like a cult. They're trying to make it into that. Now, I don't know a lot about it. I'm not saying what it is or what it isn't, but they're trying to make it be that, to just paint people that are Trump supporters as all that, to explain it. Oh, this is the reason why they support Trump, because they're cult members and they don't know any better and they got to get reprogrammed. So they're trying to frame people as that, label everyone as that. So if they say something that's true, but they don't want to get out, then they'll just say, oh, Q supporter, you're crazy. That's pretty much it. But thank you for your call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Yeah, Q, that's not really my wave. I don't know a lot about that. So, but I already see what the media are trying to do. They're trying to make it be like, oh, you're a Q supporter, you're crazy. And, they try to say that about Marjorie Taylor-Greene, but we know that's not true. But let's get to the next one. Let's go. 913, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Oh, hi. This is Tammy.
All righty. What's going on?
Oh, can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Hey, I'm a mail carrier in Kansas, and I don't know what you've been talking about. I don't know if I'm still on the same subject, but back to the subject of counting the ballots, and I think that they should have cameras in every place they count. I think that should be a state law in every place that they are counting. Like they were, obviously unaware of the cameras that caught them pulling boxes out from underneath the table. I think that those should be in every place that counts. We have the technology. There's no reason that we couldn't have that. And also I would like somehow, I don't know how to go about doing it, but I guess talk to our legislatures or somebody, but how, like my sister voted in person and I voted, or no, she voted early in person and I voted on the day of in person. She couldn't look up and see that she had even voted. The lady there told her, well, might be a week before you'll be able to see it. And she's in Johnson County, north of me. I'm in Miami County, but I could see mine that day. I could pull my mom's vote up and see that she voted. Unfortunately, though, all you see is that you voted and that you are a Republican or a Democrat. You can't see how you voted. It's so irritating. It's like, did my vote really count? And my sister didn't see hers it was several days before hers actually registered. Now, how does she vote early and then not even be able to see her vote for several days? And Johnson County is a big place where they have those MoveOn.org meetings. Because I drove by the church that they were having, and then there was a ton of out-of-state cars, at this MoveOn.org meeting in Johnson County. So I think that's how we have a Democrat governor through the Johnson County votes. But anyway, then the last thing I was going to say was about the USPS stores where they have multiple addresses going to one store. I don't know if they have them anymore, but I have one on my route that's not there anymore. It's a different business now, but I get so much junk mail and so much actual mail from people that used to use those as addresses, and that's where they send ballots to. And then when we get ballots that are invalid, or that the address is no longer there anymore, it's now a business. When we go and send those ballots back, they group them all up, and we have to keep everything political separate. So basically, they can send out as many of those to those fake addresses as they want, and then they're going to get them back in return, and then they can do whatever they want with them. So it's just one more way of them creating a blank ballot. It's just so irritating. But anyway, that's all I got to say, and I really appreciate your show, and I'll just listen to what you have to say about it now.
Well, thank you for your call. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, the mail-in ballot, I think that's definitely what caused a lot of problems with the election, for sure. And I figured that'd be the case because you got a lack of security. How do you know who's filling the ballot out and sending it in? I saw back when the election happened, there was one address, I think it was in D.C., that had 6 different ballots for 6 different people that used to live there and don't live there anymore. It was one person lived there in this apartment, but they got 6 different ballots. So how do you know that one person is not filling out multiple ballots, multiple people? How can that be? I mean, and people were going to the polls talking about they tried to vote and then they said that their vote was already counted. So that means that somebody already mailed in a ballot for them. Or in places where you can vote in person as whoever, they might have done that. But there's no voter ID. That's a problem. And I said that long before this election. With no voter ID, you're going to have a problem. And that's the reason. They try to say voter ID, that's racist because you're oppressing black people. But it's not about that. It's about you need to have some security in the election. Because if there's no voter ID, then you can just say, hey, my name is Johnny Appleseed. Give me my ballot. I want to vote. And they got to do it because you have no way to verify your identification. So it doesn't make any sense. It's not racist to say you got to have an ID. You got to have an ID for everyday basic life. And shout out to Ari, I think his name was Horowitz from Fox. He went around asking black folks in Harlem if they had an ID, could they vote? Did they know? Well, not could they vote. If they have an ID, did they know what a DMV is? And they say, yeah, I know where DMV is at, right there, 125th. I know how to get to it. It's right there. You know, like he's asking these questions and they're like looking at him crazy. Like, yeah, come on, this is basic stuff. But then when he went to California, I think it might have been in Berkeley in California, he was walking around asking these liberals, a lot of white liberals, other color liberals, oh, is it racist to require voter ID? And they're like, yeah, because they don't know what a DMV is and they can't get it. It's like, seriously, for real? We don't know what a DMV is. We don't know how to get an ID. That's just ridiculous. It's just crazy talk. But that's just how these people operate. And really, once you live in, if you are kind of living in a life where you don't have a lot of money, you need your ID a lot more. For different things you got to go and try to get and moves you got to make, you got to have an ID. So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. We're not like living in caves, not understanding how to, use fire to cook. I mean, it's just kind of silly. But we'll move on to the next one. 701, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
This is Amy. Hey, ABL. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I am doing well. Thank you. I want to send a special shout out to your wife for being super kind to me on the chat last time.
Oh, well, shout out to her. Thank you.
I wanted to circle back to a couple topics that were already discussed quickly. With the video games, me and you are around the same age. Did you ever see Bowling for Columbine?
No, I never saw that. I heard about it, but I never saw it.
Okay, so he kind of basically talks about games not being the cause of, Columbine and how the media is bad and they use their scare tactics, and he talks about, look at the difference of Canada's media versus ours. And I'm just kind of curious, where is Michael Myers now? He has been super quiet about everything.
Hey, that's a really good question because I feel like he was really vocal whenever it came to, hating Trump, Orange Man bad, all this and that. But now, some things that he actually spoke about himself, did whole documentaries about he wants to be quiet as a church mouse. I think nowadays he doesn't really want to go against the things that the left are talking about too much because that'll make him too much of an ally to the right, and he can't have that.
Totally. I would love it if you would watch Bowling for Columbine and then give us your thoughts on it, putting it in today's terms, because the people that he interviews and the thoughts that they have, I mean, he interviews Marilyn Manson, and we all know kind of what's going on with him and whatever. I don't know the truth, and the only people that do are the people that were there, right? But it's just really interesting thinking about it in today's context because, yeah, he's totally, I hate Trump. So other thing I wanted to circle back, the gentleman that called that was talking about morals and how morals deal with culture, I kind of like how Candace Owens put it. And she says that, the more that you can push the line further and further with culture is actually what dictates the morals that we value today, if that makes sense. I don't know. I thought he had some interesting thoughts, but I could tell that he was nervous. And I want to tell everybody, call in and talk to ADL. It's just you two. And if you don't want to know how you sound, don't rewatch it. But I sent a super chat about you reading The Undefeated, and it is supposed to be a children's book. And I liked a lot of it because I think that greatness in all cultures should be celebrated, right? My children, whether they are black or white or anything, they should know about Michael Jordan and his struggles and how he never quit. But they should also know about Bill Gates before he kind of went crazy, like how he faced, he became a multimillionaire in the things he did. Anyways, in this book, The Undefeated, there's a page about the unspoken. And I understand we have to put in memory, of people that have fallen, as a result of, I don't know, doing positive things. But in this picture, and it says, this is for the unspoken, it's a memorial. Obviously, there's flowers and there's candles and stuff. But there's a picture of like Trayvon Martin characterized, because it's a kid's book, right? And there's, I don't remember his name, but the gentleman that Obama's AG went down there and
Eric
said,
Holder.
oh, no, this was a clean. Yeah, he's on there. And then there's like Justice for, and you can't see the person's name, but you know it's Breonna Taylor. And I called you last week and we talked about my first grader, and now my third grader came home this week on Friday and talked about The Undefeated book, and how, people like him, it's because of people like him, and it's because of cops, and it's because of, white supremacists that these people have died. And I'm thinking, okay, number one, we're scheduling an appointment with the principal immediately, because I am for learning about all cultures. I'm not for you pushing Black Lives Matter on my kids, because that's how the book ends, by the way. The very last page says Black lives matter.
Wow.
And when you go to the guy's page, he's a huge supporter of that movement specifically. But I don't know. I'm really interested in your thoughts on that also. My daughter also came home and said some more interesting things about how, Mommy, did you know, and she's in first grade, we talked about her last time, did you know that, Black people have been wronged, and that all of us white people have been really bad to Black people?
Awful.
And
Terrible.
I didn't know what to, I had to stop and like bite my tongue for a second, because I want to react, because I'm just mortified that this is what my first grader is saying. But I also, like, it's not all white people hating Black people, and some of our best friends are Black. Some of our best, I don't understand it at all. And I think a lot of people last time on the chat said, pull your daughter out of school, pull your son out of school. And I agree with that to a point, but I'm also a COVID nurse, and I have a husband who's an engineer, and it's super hard to say, okay, we're going to cut one income. Like, we can't afford private school, but we can't afford to homeschool. And
right.
It's,
I think what somebody said is you gotta like debrief your kids when they come back from school, and just well, somebody was saying that they asked their kids, hey, what you learn today? And you get to report.
No, totally.
And then if you're hearing something crazy, you could just give them the actual correct thing to know. That's what I was told.
Oh yeah, education. I mean, educate yourself, educate your children. And I mean, my mom always said you got to be firm, fair, and full of love. And I agree with that to every extent, whether it's coaching or teaching or parenting or nursing. Like, you have to be firm, but you have to be fair, and you do have to also show love and support. And I 100% am doing, that. Okay, what did we learn at school today? And let's talk about it, because, if we want to get down to the reality, and I know you've talked about this on some of your, or other people have called and talked about this, but like, if you look at where my ancestors actually came from, I'm only third generation here, okay? My grandma came from Norway. She was $26 short of being able to take the Titanic.
Wow.
So tell me how I owned slaves, because she went straight from Ellis Island, which I've found. I found her signature, and she was immediately put on a bus or a train and sent to Oslo, Minnesota, where she could farm, because that's what she did in Norway or Sweden. And my other family, they came in the boat before the Titanic, but they like lost family members on that boat because they were, steerage. So why do I have to pay reparations? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It really is, Will.
But
I thank you for your call.
But you
Definitely
have a
appreciate you.
wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow. Imagine you trying to scrounge up some money to go on the Titanic, and he's like, man, I'm trying to get on the Titanic, and then you see it hit the iceberg and went down, baby. Wow, that's crazy. What was that? $26 short? That's wild. Okay, let's get to the next call here. 631. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, Anthony.
Yes.
It's Ann.
All righty. What's
from
going
Long
on?
Island, New York. All right. I can't believe that we're in the white out here, as far as the COVID virus. But the thing that I feel.
Hold on, caller. I got feedback in the background. Turn your speakers down for me, please.
It's off.
Okay, you good? All right.
Hold on. Hold up. I'll turn it off completely. Off. Okay. It's off completely. And let me just turn up the TV down all the way. I forgot what I was even asking you now. Are they still counting ballots?
Where?
I thought I saw something the other day that they found like 69% of the ballots were for Trump, not Biden. They were all incorrect.
Well, I don't
Are
think
they still counting?
I have no idea. I've not heard that, so I don't really know.
I didn't hear it either. I mean, I did hear it. What am I saying? I did hear it on a news channel, a regular news channel, not the criminal news. But I was like kind of shocked. I said, it must not be over yet.
And I think that we're going to see a lot more. We're going to see a lot to come out after this whole thing is over with.
Anthony, what I feel in my heart and soul, I feel like we're not going to make another 4 years. We are not in this situation that we're in right now. I do not feel positive. What?
What do you mean that we're not making it like we won't make it?
I don't think America will be here anymore.
Oh.
After 4 years. I really don't.
I think we'll be okay. I mean, we survived 8 years of Obama.
Iran and China. I mean, what the hell? What's going on? Letting all these illegal aliens in? Who's paying for these? I can't even afford to pay for me.
I understand.
What are they doing?
Yeah, I get it. I really do. I mean, it's crazy, but I think we'll be okay. We survived Obama, so we can survive this guy.
The most in the whole world caravan to come into America in March. Okay? And be allowed to come in unvetted. I want to know what is going on.
Right. I get it. I understand.
We keep living inside a house. I can't stand it anymore.
Right.
They're like using us as I really feel like we're all enslaved with their laws. You got to wear the mask. You got to be inside. You got to be 6 feet apart. No, I don't ever wear the mask. I'm never 6 feet apart from somebody, and I never caught the virus, so I don't know what the heck it's a virus. It's not a plague. I think they're overdoing that, and they're making everybody their poster child. Like we're all dummies out here. We don't know what we're doing. I was a registered nurse for 43 years, and there's no cures for viruses. Even if you get the inoculation, does not mean you're not going to get the COVID virus. Does not mean that.
That's right.
It just makes the symptoms less. Or you could die from the shot. So
that's possible.
I'm not taking the shot. I don't take any shots, actually. I don't take the flu shot or the pneumonia shot or any of that stuff. I never get sick. I think they make me sick when they do give me a shot.
That's
so
right.
I always turn it down. So I'm just wondering what's going on in this room here tonight. I mean, it goes from one extreme to another extreme to another issue to another issue.
Hey,
I just feel like if if we don't do something about the Democrats taking away our freedoms, I mean, my freedom is free outside all the time. But like Facebook, they kick me off. As soon as I get out of 30 days of jail, they kick me off the next day. For nothing. For nothing. I really, I don't see this world going anywhere, America anyway, staying free.
Right, I got you. But
week.
Carl, thank you for your call, but I got a lot more on the line. Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you. All right, thank you. Appreciate it. All righty. Shout out to a young lady from Strong Island, New York. Let's get to the next one. All right, let's try to go. All right. Okay. The number to call, 434-658-1220. All right, Victor, what's going on?
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
No problem.
Hey, I haven't been online for so long because I forgot how to get on, like Biden said.
Right.
So, and by the way, with Biden, I am very, very disappointed. For those of you who know, I did give my black vote to Biden because all I wanted him to do is put in Corn Pop as the director of CIA or the FBI, and he didn't do it.
Man, it's a promise made, promise not kept, man. That was terrible.
Yeah, man. I mean, I thought he was a bad man, but I guess he's not. So anyway, the LeBron James and the Zlatan, I don't know how to say his name, but that guy. I would say this with LeBron James, I don't have an issue of him talking about what he believes is injustice. The problem I have is that he is not going into the debate realm to talk about these ideals.
Yeah.
That's the big issue. How are you going to call yourself a leader or fighting for the people when you don't even go into the discussions and talk about this? I mean, reason why you have respect for people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and if you want to go to athletes, Muhammad Ali, they went out of their bubble and talked to people who they disagreed with and debate these ideals. LeBron James, he always stays in that bubble. They let him say whatever he wants without being challenged. And all these things is in the debate realm, and he does not want to do that.
I mean, yeah, you got a point. You definitely got a point, and that's where you should be. If you really want to talk about these things, have a real discussion. Don't just go on your TV show with your goblet of wine in the barbershop talking to your friends about certain things, or say little things on press conferences. Have a true debate with somebody that is right up your alley, and y'all can talk about some things for real. You got a good point there.
Yeah, exactly. And the last thing I want to talk about is your debate with that woman about a black woman playing the Queen of England. You had a mic drop moment at the very end when you asked her, why don't you play a black African queen if you want to get diversity in the movies? That right there showed that it's not really about diversity or try to get more black women in movies. They want to be white women.
Yeah, exactly.
It's envy. It's envy. That's what it is. It's all envy. Envy.
It's like have pride in yourself and who you are. Like she's talking about you want to see more black girls as a queen. It's like, well, you got black queens. It's not just a white thing to be a queen. You could be a black queen, and there's plenty of stories that exist. You can make up a story, fiction, whatever. It doesn't even make a difference. But see, like you said, it's envy. Like I don't want to have what I have and celebrate my history. I want to be you. I want to become you. I want to take over you. I don't like that. Just be proud of who you are.
Yeah, and this is the last thing with Disney. How people talk about, oh, let's bring more diversity. Disney is very, very slick when they talk about how, oh, there's no black princesses or no black queens. It's like, okay, fine, we give you a black queen. Oh no, a black princess, but she's a frog for the whole movie. And then in Pixar, oh, you don't have no black representative. Okay, we give you a movie that came out on, I think was during Black History Month, Soul, the movie Soul, that's black oriented, but the main character was blue the whole time. So yeah, we got your diversity right there.
There you go.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
Great call from Victor. Excellent call. Excellent. And yeah, they do that. They make the character blue, make him a frog, and then they kind of laughing at you at the same time. They're not slick. All right, let's get to the next one here. The number to call 434-658-1220, and let's get to 774. You're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Stephen Hannigan from Boston.
All righty, man. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on? Am I on for real?
You're on live. Yes, you are.
Oh, awesome, yo! I'm a huge fan. No, I just wanted to talk about actually a specific little thing about how politics just rule these demis' minds, and it's like actually quite sickening. Like, I'm a teacher, or I was before I was laid off, and all my friends are women, and they have like PhDs and master's degrees. Like, we're all educated, you know, and we all know each other's character. And like a friend that I've had for 6 years, who's like 4 years older than me, I helped her get through her divorce. She found out that I voted for Trump, sent me a text, and just was like, I think we should part ways.
Wow.
Like, and you know what? That's all I needed to hear. I don't need the apology. I just get more upset that, I don't know, I see, like, I get like the dummies on both sides, but I see like educated minds like willingly getting raped by the media on the left. And it's just, at what point, like, if I knew my best friend for 20 years, right? I got my buddy Vaughn, my best friend. He's more on the left side, and I'm more on the right side. And that's like him letting one of these news outlets telling him that, you know, I'm this way and I'm that way. And all of a sudden I look at him that way. Like, all these fucking, all these like people just, they allow their views to be skewed. Like, where unity begins is where you go to dunks in the morning, you know, who you interact with. That it's individual. I don't care who anybody voted for, but now I'm starting to see easily who people are voting for. And I'm going to be honest, last thing, can I say one more thing? I don't mean to rant. I'm just stoked I'm on your thing.
Go for it.
All right. I'm a first-generation American. My mother's Palestinian. I'm never into politics. I just always believed it was the lesser of two evils. That's absolutely my belief. I heard a rumor that you get jury duty if you vote. That's why I never wanted to vote. But I made a condition. I said, you know what? The only way that I will vote is if something was impacting my life, my everyday life, not TV, my life. You know, I'm licensed to carry. Now, we can't buy bullets. I'm in fear if somebody breaks into my house. I'm in fear if I defend my house that I'm going to go to court and, you know, be prosecuted because of one of these movements. Like, so, you know, Trump was the only person. I didn't even know who Trump was. I just knew he was on some Wu-Tang skits that I used to listen to on CDs. He's the only president that actually affected me financially in a positive way. And I made a vow to go vote for him and do it right. I wanted to go in person, and that's what I did. And after this whole election, like, honestly, I'll probably never vote again. And that's sad to say, but I felt robbed of the whole experience.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from. Hopefully, you'll change your mind. Hopefully, we'll get everything back on track. But I do understand where you're coming from. I don't want to minimize your experience, as I understand. But I'm glad you were able to vote at least that time for Trump. Hopefully, we get everything back on track.
That was the condition that I set, and I was serious about it, and I was actually really passionate about it. Like, it's something I would never, ever, ever feel passionate about, politics or being political, but I was just thankful. So I was like, you know what? If I'm going to vote, this is the time to do it. And I mean, I don't know. It's just, my whole family, my aunt's a doctor, and then, she quarantined her kids for a year and a half. It's like people are letting themselves be stupid. Like,
she quarantined her kids for a year and a half?
Well, a year, going on a year and something.
Well, ever since March of last year?
As soon as the pandemic kicked and all the way until now.
Wow. That's crazy.
And it's like, look, if you told me that once a week, a random day, a monster would drive by my house and lace my house up with bullets, that's not going to keep me in the house for a whole year. I'm sorry. Never mind everybody that I know that got COVID, that's fine.
Right. I'm with you, man.
Like, all right, sorry for the rant.
Oh, it's all right.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Keep on keeping on, dude. And you know what? Like, you're one of the only voices that I actually listen to. And I like your signature. Put my little cherry on top. I like your shit, man. Keep on keeping on, man. God bless. And thanks for having me on, man. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. See you.
All righty. Now, hold on one second here. Let's get to, I got time for maybe one more. 808, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, you're speaking to Bennett, calling in, checking in from Maui, Hawaii.
All righty. What's going on?
Hey, man, just thanks for getting through the line. This might be about maybe the third time I've gotten through to you, ABL, and just really appreciate all you do. Been watching you for a few years now, and it's awesome to see. I see your name pop up in lots of various places nowadays, and I get a warm feeling inside when I see that. So just wanted to say that real quick.
Thank you.
And also, I have to say I'm a little excited because tomorrow is Sunday, and at CPAC, we're going to get to hear from DJT.
That's right.
I was wondering if you had any thoughts on that, and I don't know, maybe what you'd like to hear, or what do you think it's going to be like to hear our man?
I think what he's going to do is lay out the plan for the next 2 years, and he might. I think he'll tease a run. He'll tease a run. He may not necessarily go out there and just do it, but he's going to tease a run. So I can't wait. I think I'm gonna try to stream it because he's scheduled to speak at 3:50 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow afternoon. Okay. So I'm gonna try to stream it, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. That's gonna be the highlight of the year.
Dude, I know, man. I'm sitting here like, look, I gotta say, I'm still a little bit in disbelief and a little sort of bummed out about November 3rd, January 6th, January 20th, and here we are at the end of February. Like, I still kind of can't believe what we're all looking at, and I know we're all in the same boat. I know you and most of your listeners, we like, we're DJT fans, and America first, and we had this beautiful 4 years, and I was like, yeah, man, no problem. He's got it. Trump 2020. And man, it's a pretty tough gut punch to take all this, but I'm hanging in there. And, I'm thankful that guys like you are, on the air, and rest in peace to the great Rush Limbaugh. I feel like he's kind of the granddaddy sort of mentor for all of us that are podcasting and on mics and open forums. And shout out to Rush Limbaugh. And I just got another real quick question, if I could, ABL.
Go for it.
I was wondering, I know most of the time you talk a lot of political stuff and other things like that. And I was wondering if you ever delve into the economic side of things. I'm a Trump fan, you know, and I love, you know, defending my president, and he'll always be my president. And I hope things pan out and we get back on track, like you said. I was wondering, and I'll leave after the question, thoughts on the printing of all the money, the Fed, all that stuff going on, the possibility of hyperinflation around the corner, possibility of the devaluation of our dollar, and protecting ourselves with things like silver. I know we had the big GameStop scandal, you know, that whole kerfuffle a few weeks back, and that woke a lot of people up in the fact that we can make a difference. And now I'm seeing a lot of people go down the silver road. I myself just invested for the first time in my life in silver, and I just got my package in the mail a couple days ago, and it's beautiful, and I'm ready to buy some more. So just wondering your thoughts on any of that, if that's anything you talk about. And thanks again. Shout out to the live chat. I see it going. Aloha from Maui, and thank you for all you do, ABL.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Right on, Matt. Take care, bud.
All righty. To answer his question, I think silver is good because one thing about silver, if you want to hedge against inflation or keep that rather than keeping not keeping cash, which some say is trash, that's good. Also, gold, that's good to have because you can exchange it for later. If you get to the point where you can exchange silver or gold for cash, then society's collapsed. But as long as we're here, as long as we have society, you can get silver and gold. Physical silver and gold. Physical. I'm talking about get a package from the mail, get an actual piece of silver or a piece of gold. Physical in your hand, like I got right here, physical silver, physical gold is what you need. So when he said package in the mail, you're talking about physical, not just the SOV. Physical silver in your hand. That's what you need to get. You know, from a reputable dealer. Shout out to Peter Schiff. You can get it from Peter Schiff. Some say that, you know, it's kind of a debate on that, but I think that that's a good thing to have some of your cash in. Stocks, of course. It's good to have stocks. I got plenty of stocks. I got a nice portfolio. Robinhood, I have Robinhood. Yes, I do. I know they had the whole controversy, but that is a whole thing. The thing with Robinhood that happened is way above Robinhood's head. And it happened to everybody, not just Robinhood. So I digress. Having stocks is good as well because, you know, these things are going to just go up. Some of them may go down, but overall you go up. If you got a 401k, you got stocks too. Retirement, a lot of that's kind of hedged on stocks. Whatever you can do to make sure your money does not get obliterated by all the printing of money and devaluing the money. Make sure your money is going to a place that will rise up rather than just having the cash, because that's kind of trash. And then the way it is now, no interest rate, 0% interest rate. If you got your money in the bank, it's not making the money for you. If you got a high yield savings, how are you going to have a high yield savings with 0% interest? It's impossible. So yeah, stocks, physical silver, physical gold. People have Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, I mean, Bitcoin is okay. I have some Bitcoin, but I'm not really sold on Bitcoin because silver and gold are physical things that have industrial uses. Stocks, you have equity, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not, a rocket scientist, but Bitcoin, you just have a thing that only can be sold for whatever the market says it has to, that it would be sold for. When you have people like Elon Musk and Tesla investing 1.5 billion or whatever that was in the Bitcoin, that will increase the value. So it has less of a chance to crash and other kind of coins of its nature. So maybe it's a good thing to have because of all the money that's in it. But aside from that, it's not really a whole lot of value there, in my humble opinion. Blockchain is a good technology, but that's not the equivalent necessarily to having Bitcoin as far as your cash in it. If that makes any, it could be secure by having the blockchain technology, but that's not always the case either. But that's a different story. Yeah, it is a gamble. I would say physical silver, physical gold, and stocks that you know are going to rise up. You know, listen to Charles Payne, sign up to his newsletter. I'm on his newsletter right now, and I look at his advice. You know, maybe even get a stockbroker, somebody that you trust, or just do research yourself. See what stocks are really going and what's going to be. But silver and gold is always going to be a thing that is in demand. Oh, of course, if you're talking about prepping, you guys talking about buy food and water, buy guns and ammo. Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely food, water, guns, ammo. That's a given. Have supplies at least for a natural disaster, because remember when the whole thing with the snowstorms hit Texas, a lot of guys were prepared because they already had, you know, things for an event like that. They had an ability to make heat for themselves, and the ability to, you know, they had warm clothes and they had food and they had potable water and stuff like that. Yeah, you need those things for a natural disaster, and also just for anything to just like it. All it takes is just one little glitch in the matrix for things to fall apart. One glitch in the matrix. Okay, that's all I got for the night for calls. If you couldn't get on, I'm sorry. You got to blame the white man. It's not my fault. But I'll be back live again probably tomorrow for Trump's CPAC talk. I'm going to try to go live at about 3:30. That's my goal, 3:30. If Trump is not coming out when he's supposed to, which is like 3:40 or 3:50, I might not be able to do it because I got a later engagement. But I'm going to try to go live at about 3:30. And, of course, I'll be live again for the regular live show on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm always here live Wednesday and Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The first hour or so, I just talk about whatever's going on. The last 2 hours, I take calls from you guys that's kind of related to what's going on. All right. So I got super chats, and then I wrap it on up, put a bow on the top. Thanks to the mods for being here. You guys are doing a great job keeping them trolls in check. I appreciate you guys doing what you do all the time. I got super chats to read, and then I have to wrap it on up. Let me get back to where I was. All right. Let me see. Okay. I think I read this one. Shout out to Jennifer, who says, cartel and Biden administration own America. Hopefully not. Thank you to Jedi 2, was that 2 million, 2 billion, who says, love your show, ABL. Thank you. Thank you to Only One Faith, who says, how can people have faith in another election when they ignore the facts? Are we insane to think they won't do this again? Well, we, the people, can control more than what we give ourselves credit for. We're not just beholden to outside forces. We are the force. So have faith in yourself. Thank you to Yogi for your donation. I appreciate you, boss. Yogi Fish. Thank you to Amy V, who says, what about they're trying to take sections out of stores? Barbers next to Transformers, clothes all together. Yeah, that's crazy. So no boys and girls sections in kids' toy stores. That's ridiculous. When I was a kid, I would not like that. I would not want to go looking for X-Men to get, and then I run into a bunch of Barbies. I don't want Barbies. I want X-Men. I want Iceman, Wolverine, Spider-Man. I want all of that. Shout out to Shad for your donation. Thank you to Wes, who says Al Capone got his best criminal ideas from early versions of Pac-Man. Shout out to Frank, who says Tipper Gore in the PMRC, the Parents Music Resource Center, trying to change music one lyric at a time. Exactly. Shout out to C. Dolores Tucker as well. Shout out to Cole Haterade, great name, who says Trump blamed mass shootings on video games too. Old people just don't understand new trends in entertainment. The left is just taking advantage of it. Yeah. I mean, Trump's old. He don't know what's going on. You know, that's just something that is just simply not true. Shout out to Jedi, who says, I think rap culture has a strong impact. Yes, parents need to raise kids well, but I do think music, fashion is powerful, especially in some communities. It has an impact, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is people themselves already having a toxic culture to begin with. Rap music that glorifies violence does not help the situation, but it wouldn't even be a problem if the culture didn't exist to begin with. All right, you're not seeing a bunch of white kids out here becoming gang members because they're listening to rap music, although they are the largest consumers of it. It's a culture that exists already that is kind of just being flamed up by the music because it comes from the same culture. Shout out to Wolfgang, who says, I get victimized all the time. It's ridiculous. However, most of it is just societal or wrong place, wrong time. These people want free stuff, though. Wolfgang also says, God commands us to respect our parents, not to love them. However, We all die one day, so it's probably best to find a way to fix things one day. Yes. Shout out to Glenn who says, thanks, Brian, your insight and efforts for all us patriots. Thank you to JB who says, ABL, I appreciate your heart. Blessings to you for being kind. Love to you and your sweet wife. Thank you. Thank you to ODV22 for the keep it up emoji with the working out. Let me see. Thank you to Rickety Rect who says, great show, ABL. Sorry I got to leave before the end. I got a detailed shift tonight. Have a great show. Thank you for the amazing content. Thank you for being here. Most certainly appreciate you, boss. Thank you to Shadforth who says, please volunteer to precinct committee. 200,000 GOP vacancies. 200,000 GOP vacancies. 1 million a month. Even 20-year-olds do it. The precinct project. I got to check it out. So I'm read that one more time because you didn't hear it. Please volunteer to a precinct committee. 200,000 GOP vacancies. 1 million a month. Even 20-year-olds do it. The precinct project. I'll check it out. Pineapple out of Polymus, and I know I tore that name up. It's not my fault. Says, God is literally with you. Remember I said that. There you go. Thank you to Lee Money III who says, good show tonight. Thanks. Thank you for being here and for your donation. Shout out to Rick the Election who says, ban unsolicited mail-in ballots. That's what we need to do. Exactly. Unsolicited is the key word. If I request a ballot to my address and I go through proper channels to get the, requests done, that's one thing. That's called absentee balloting. It makes sense. We always do it. When you just send ballots out to whatever address is on file, that's not right. You be sending multiple ballots of different people to the same address. It doesn't make any sense. Thank you to ODV for your mug donation. Thank you to Leo who says this Equality Act will damage women's sports, especially scholarships for young ladies that are going to college. Just for starters, exactly. Wolfgang says my heritage is Irish and German. When are these races going to stop saying my descendants did things to American blacks just because I look white? Jedi says, what are your thoughts on Christopher Columbus? Also, I had students tell me that you would die from the virus when I mentioned go to museums and parks. Students are just being scared by media talking about the virus. You're outside at a park. It ain't just going to travel like the mist. It's just not going to happen like that. But they believe that because of what the media has been telling them. It's really a shame. Christopher Columbus, he's a part of history. It's not really people want to have this big negative viewpoint on him, but I don't really understand. Sugar Shane says local and state elections probably more important than presidential. Correct. Stop complaining and be the change you want. Exactly. Thank you for your donation and your very kind and correct words. Family says was going to give to the cause regardless, Patriots. Theo Francis 3.0 says Madonna. My poor doggy, choose reward for their return. Don't care about a dog walker who shot him or anything but my dogs. Dog lives matter. That was Lady Gaga, but you got the right point. You right on it. Thank you for that. Thank you to Real Honest Abe who says America last. Zhao Zhaidin. I see what you did there. Thank you for that. Tammy F says, I'm the mail carrier that called in. I'm trying to figure out how to get some things changed here in Kansas. Thank you for taking my call, ABL. No problem. Thank you for your donation and your support. Thank you to Wolfgang who says, I got a dope vat keyboard this week and I've gotten decent at it. 1 votes because that is your ability to be counted. Otherwise, it is an abstain. Tasha says, but ain't going to blame it on the white man merch, AB. I got you. Don't even worry about it. That's coming up next. Thank you to ODV for the fist bump donation. Shout out to Mixed Girl POV for the keep it up, working out emoji. I appreciate you for that one. Wolfgang says, y'all stocking up on gold, silver. I'm stocking up on guns. Hey, you could do both. Why not? Do everything. Let's see how long your investment lasts in an apocalypse. Be good, no hyperinflation. Bitcoin is great. However, due to energy costs, it will fail someday. Right now, it's propped up by those saving monetary value in Venezuela, etc. Yeah, it's propped up now by those that have invested into it, using it as a hedge against inflation. But I think physical gold and silver is good. Stocks are good. But if things fall apart, none of that's going to matter. Your gold won't matter in the apocalypse. Your silver, none of that will matter in the worst case scenario. But it's good to plan for good times by hedging against inflation. We know you're going to have inflation. That's a fact. We got inflation happening right now today as I speak. So the best thing to do, in my humble opinion, is to prepare for just things you know are going to happen and also prepare for things that may or may not happen. Natural disaster, prepare for that too. You prepare differently for natural disaster than you do for just, fluctuations in the money market and things of that nature, the economy and whatnot. All right. Thank you for being here. Definitely appreciate you guys. Please, if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. Give me a thumbs up on the video, like the video, share the video, do all that good stuff. Also, if you're listening on your favorite audio streaming platform, please give me a 5-star rating or whatever the case may be. That's all I got for tonight. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.